We're recording.
Hello, welcome to Gamble This. I'm Tom, as you already know from my past two asshole experiences.
I'm Tyler Woodstruck.
Alec Lindgren.
Chad Sargent. Usually I'd take the lead, but I kind of lost part of my voice at the Derby last night, so...
Ref was making bad calls. So
Oh, yeah. The referees were incompetent there.
Patriots game, apparently.
Yeah, it must have been.
Yeah.
Letting Tommy take the reins on this one.
Those tires were a little deflated. So, yeah, I mean, you all know about me. I've told my story a couple times, so I guess we should just start with Tyler here and how you got into gambling and whatnot.
I'm Tyler Woodstruck. As most of the New York people know, I've been doing organizing the last few Gamble 500s for New York.
You're the godfather.
But I got into it on Kevin's second one, gambled it, and of course, hey, we could do this up by me, and decided to give Kevin a break, and I guess the rest is history. I've done 3 now, and already working on the 4th one, which is fall 2019, which is planned for September 14th and 15th.
My birthday weekend and my bachelor party is going to be up there too. Once again, I say that every time, but yeah, it's going to be a shit show.
It's in the middle of house shopping. Jesus.
Don't buy a house. Too much stress.
I already have one. I'm looking for another one down south.
Oh.
All right, Alec.
I'm Alec, as I said. And, I don't know. What did we say last time? I stumbled upon the Gambler on accident, and I've run the inaugural Frozen Nuts in the winter, and I've done 2 main Adirondack ones, and I've done the inaugural one up in the state of Maine. And it was a lit time, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
I was going to say, let's talk about
that. So what happened? What happened that made it such a lit time?
I'm not 100% sure. I'm thinking it's either oil or ATF decided it wanted to no longer be inside of the vehicle and be on the exhaust manifold. And we were climbing a mountain. We were on the 3rd death truck, and it was basically like a mile-long rocky mountain. And I got about halfway up, and it started turning into Cheech and Chong inside the cab of the Bronco. Smoking everywhere, and I'm like, smells like oil, so we're just gonna keep going up to the top. I don't want to, hold up the people behind me. So I got to the top, got to a clearing, turned it off, opened the hood. It was making, like a hissing noise, and it wasn't really smoking that much, so I just let it cool and waited for the rest of my group to come up, and I walked away from it, turned around again, and there was flames coming out from under the hood. And before we even could say anything, half the vehicle was engulfed, and it burned right down to the ground. We saved a little bit of my stuff, but I lost a few things, but whatever. My dad and I made it out okay, so I guess that's all that matters. We didn't burn the forest down.
Yeah.
Game warden was happy about that. We didn't burn the forest down, and so now I don't know, maybe the New Yorkers aren't allowed back in Maine, who knows.
I did see the recovery of that too. That was kind of epic.
Yeah, we one of the firefighters that came up, his dad runs a logging skidder at the base of the mountain, or hill, or whatever you want to call it. And I guess he offered up to use a skidder to drag the carcass off the mountain. So we just picked it up enough that could kind of drag it, and went down the mountain with it. We had 3 people following with like rakes and stuff to pick up pieces that fall off, and I followed in I followed one of the Jeeps that went up there, and I just watched the bumper, this aftermarket bumper that was on this Bronco when I bought it, just getting bashed off every single rock. And we get to the bottom of the mountain, and it's basically, it's burnt and rusty, but it's still in good shape. So we pulled that off when we got back to base camp, and it's either going to go on to the free Bronco or my 2-wheel drive 7.3 that's getting rebuilt.
Explain how you got that Bronco, or the bumper back to New York also.
Well, we took the bumper off, and then I used my manufacturer straps and strapped it right down to the trailer. Ran all the way 8 hours home on the highway with a bumper strapped in the back of the trailer. Everybody was probably like, these freaking
full size trailer.
These hillbillies from New York don't know what the hell the point of a pickup bed is or something. But
that's just all you came back with.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you happen to fall ass backwards into another Bronco.
Yeah, one of the guy, he was probably gonna butcher his last name, but it was Tyler, he was Spittle or Siddle or something like
Spittle.
that. He had sent me a link a couple days later to a Bronco roller that was for sale out of Pennsylvania, and the guy had it up for $500. Well, I followed the link. I knew I was going to be going down to Pennsylvania in about 2 weeks to pick up my new trailer. So I was like, I might go take a look at it and whatnot. Next weekend rolls by, the guy has it down to $300. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get it for even cheaper then, apparently. Then a couple days after that, it goes down to $100. And I'm like, all right, I better message this guy, make sure he doesn't, scrap it or anything, So I text him, I'm like, hey, I'm looking to come down the following Saturday. I got to, pick up my new trailer. And he's like, well, I'm not keeping it past Thursday. I was like, well, shit. Because I couldn't get down there. So I ended up, he basically is like, if you can get it before Thursday, you can have it for free. So it happened to only be about 90 minutes from where a bunch of my buddies are that I knew from college. And I texted them and I'm like, who's got a trailer that is free tomorrow night? Because this was Tuesday before he would, the Tuesday before I was supposed to go pick it up. I'm like, who's got a trailer tomorrow that could pick up something for me and keep it at their house for a couple of days till I get down there to Saturday. So one of my buddies ended up going and picking it up, and I was texting him all, the guy's information. And I was like, I don't care if it has a title, I don't care, if it's completely rot or whatever. Just, go pick it up. If it has a title, make sure he signs the title, give me a bill of sale, and that was that. And then on Saturday, I came there and saw it for the first time, and it's Gambler good. It's not exactly showroom fresh, but I can't argue with free. And it has a clean title, and it's been signed. And funny enough, it's actually on the bill of sale is more than what I paid for it technically, because we have on the bill of sale for it's like $200 or something like that.
Yeah.
Because we know how New York State can be. So
It was a gift.
So it's getting. I have a spare 460 laying around. I'm probably gonna bore and stroke that out to a 502 with nitrous and all that fun stuff.
Oh boy.
He doesn't plan on burning
mounting
it down.
fire extinguishers in it. Probably like 6 of them, just line the back of it with fire
Sounds like you're
extinguishers.
building a ringer for the spectator races there.
His plan is to not burn it down this time; it's to blow it up. So
Make sure you paint it white and make OJ proud.
I was thinking about painting it white, calling it OJ's Revenge, and getting something along the lines of acquitted as the license plate. So
OJ's Revenge's Revenge. That's when burned down.
I do want to get a sticker. It says R.I.P. to the 48-hour Bronco or something like that. Because, literally by the time when it burned down, I had only had it for 48 hours.
You have the best stories about last-minute gamblers.
Yes.
I mean, the Dakota you brought to the spring, at a glance, it's like, hey, that's pretty nice. And then you get up close.
Yeah.
Nah, it's
The
4x4.
The hole in the floorboard that's about that big.
Well,
Every
in
mud,
7-3, he gets to spring. About that, 3 or 4 days before?
Yeah, I bought it. I had to leave on Friday, and I bought it on Tuesday.
Okay. He gets there. I know your trailer deck wouldn't drop
Yeah,
anymore.
yep.
So
The trailer deck.
we had to find a way to
up.
unload it.
Yep.
And then next thing you know, he spends most of the next day
Yeah.
JV welding the fuel system.
I spent I think it was like 2 hours at Tractor Supply JB welding the fuel system together to get it to stop leaking enough I can actually finish the rest of the weekend.
Kind of surprised that one didn't go in flames.
Thankfully, diesel fuel is a little less volatile than gas, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, tool of the week. We'll start that early. Tyler had a great idea, and it's probably one of the most universal tools that you could think of for a gambler.
Yeah, well, before I showed you, I got something here that could probably place a whole drawer of your toolbox worth of parts and tools. And just about everyone has it, takes up very little space. It's a coat hanger. Many, many uses. Of course, maybe you've probably heard of, unlocking car doors. That comes in handy. Wiring up exhaust. Personally, I have fixed an e-brake with this. You can use it as hose clamps. And I've heard you can use it with your car batteries and make a makeshift stick welder. Use this as filler rod. Anyone else have any ideas what else it could be used for?
Maybe not age-appropriate uses for it, but...
I'm talking more gambler uses than car repair uses.
It's just like Vegas. What happens in the gambler stays in the gambler.
But basically, yeah, anywhere you need a wire, zip ties could be used for.
I could have used one of them to tie my battery down on my Gambler 100 ride.
There you go.
Instead, I grabbed zip ties and a bungee cord.
So yeah, great idea to bring with. Like I said, it takes almost no room. Throw it under a seat. Could save you a ride and get you out of the woods.
Hey, that would have been great to have on the Plan B bus.
Oh my.
And you can hang your clothes up to dry when you're done with the Gambler too. At
You
the
mean
end of
use
the
it
day.
for its intended purpose?
Nonsense.
I've seen a lot of people come out of the Gambler soaking wet and full of mud.
Yep.
Every mud hole we hit when we were in Dakota, you would just see it like splash up all over him because of that hole in his floorboards.
Every mud hole we went through, I would get my calf wet.
Yeah.
It was basically what it was. Good air conditioning.
Yeah. Got that 255 air if it would hit 55.
Tell him how you broke the 4x4
Um,
in the Dakota.
the sand dunes in AIS started that one. We buried it in the sand dunes. Was that Friday night or was that Saturday night?
That was Friday or
No,
Saturday
that was Saturday
night.
night. It was Saturday night.
Okay.
We buried it in the sand dunes. So then Sunday we started out. We were heading to that Sitco, wherever it was. We were meeting up with the Cricket and the Crystal Bell. And it was making a lot more noises in the front end than usual. Wasn't that worried about it, but when we got to the Sitco, I found that the electrical connector came loose from the transfer case, so that it was like, I think it was like partially engaged or still engaged or something. Plugged it back in, worked fine. Then we were up on one of the death tracks. I went through it in 4-wheel drive, and it wasn't that bad. So I went through again the other way in 2-wheel drive. Well, I think in the process of going through it the first time, the connector came loose again and wrapped itself around the drive shaft, front drive shaft, and completely shredded the connector. Because we buried it going in 2-wheel drive the other way, and I had no 4-wheel drive.
We basically jumped it in that mud pit tour with that nice stone pile. We hit that pretty hard and pretty fast.
So we got up to a flat spot. I put it up on the Super Poo had a floor jack with him, so we put it up on the floor jack. I look underneath it, and there's just wire mess everywhere. I was like, yeah, this is not getting fixed on the side of the trail. So we took spray paint. We wrote "not" over the 4x4 sticker. So apparently I'm not allowed to run anything 4-wheel drive because they either not have it in the first place, the 4-wheel drive breaks, or the Bronco burns to the ground. So
Does that mean we gotta convert your Bronco to 2-wheel drive?
we might have to,
Well,
yeah.
my truck, we found it 4x4 low works, but coming into the game, I'm like, okay, I tried it a few days before. No 4-wheel drive, tried doing a burnout in 4-wheel drive, nothing. 2-wheel drive. So whatever, I got my tires on it. I've never actually had to use that thing in 4-wheel drive. We did the Happy Valley Trail, and we were doing one spot, there's a nice mud hole out. And I figured I'll take her up on a trail. They got another truck here to pull me out. I think it's stuck, so go up there, and I said, let's just send it through this mud hole on the way down. Come down there, get in, almost I feel the thing just start to suck me in. I'm like, oh crap, I'm going to have to try to put this in 4-wheel and dig out of here. So I'm letting off the buck, putting 4-wheel, you know what, hit the gas, the thing starts digging itself out of there in 2-wheel drive, right out of there by itself.
That was barely capable.
Purely capable. Purely capable, not barely.
Barely, yeah.
I'm surprised the 4-wheel drive still works in the Toyota.
Well, it is an old Toyota truck.
Yeah, but those dunes weren't friendly.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
they
yeah.
weren't.
Speaking of the dunes, Friday, you see how many cars broke and got stuck in the dunes?
I broke in the dunes. I
Oh, yeah?
no longer have a left rear shock, and my windshield cracked.
And that's also where you thought you ruined the clutch.
Yeah, I went right for the worst case scenario. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna have to put a clutch in this thing. And I posted in one of the Toyota forums, and this guy was like, check the back of your clutch master cylinder. And I looked at it, and it was just pissing down the firewall. And I was like, I'll check the mountain of parts I have off of the 2 parts trucks. Had one, put it in. Nick came over, helped me blood it out. Now I have about that much from no clutch to fully engaged, and it runs like a top.
Nice.
It floats like a Cadillac going down the road now without that rear shock, but you know it.
I can't remember how many, but for sure I remember there was, I think it was a Grand Marquis or a Crown Vic.
Yeah, one of the
Blew
big.
both ball joints out of it right up next to the sand dunes. Spent Friday night.
One of the other ones ended up sitting there. I'm pretty sure it popped the rear axle out because I just saw it sitting
yep,
there.
I remember that.
What happened to that Silverado that
was just
snapped his front end?
Yeah,
on Sunday.
It was on the tug of war pad. Wasn't it, that one?
Sunday that thing was just
yeah.
sitting there unjacked with no wheels on it, and we were like, "What?"
I'm pretty sure that was his story. I'm pretty sure he must have replaced that and taken it home.
Well, that's like that little S10 that had the like 30,
the turtle thing.
Oh man,
like 1450s.
Yeah.
Both outer tire rods.
Went to the top of that hill climbing.
Yeah.
Do not come out the door unless you talk first.
Okay.
I'm shooting my mouth.
All right.
when I get hit with a
Yeah, he
bug.
broke his there. Speaking of the hill climb, that 240 on that hill climb just shot right up there. Right over
He was
the
like,
top.
when we were rolling around, there was that guy in the Suburban, and he was like hitting it so hard, and he kept making it all the way up to the top, and then I didn't see him get over. The only one I saw get over was the 240, and he flew up that hill when he hit it.
Yeah.
I want to try the hill climb next year or later this year. The terrible thing, I think I know right when I cracked my windshield. Because Justin from Team Super Poo and myself were rolling around, and I was like, hey, let's go up the dunes. And right over by where the campers park, if you go up that first hill up into the dunes, it's real bumpy.
Yeah.
I forgot about that, and I was like, that's sand, I need momentum. I hit one, bottomed out, came up, bottomed out in the bottom of the next one, and then ended up going down over the edge. And I was like,
I did that.
that's not fun. My CB's on the floor, everything was just tossed around the cab. I was like, I'm
barely,
not doing that again.
barely capable. I came up towards the campground through there and come through there, and it just bouncing, bottomed out 2 feet of air, bottomed out 2 feet of air. The dash fell apart. The interior behind the seat fell apart. And I'm like, okay. And then actually on the way down, I nearly hit those bale of tires. I'm like, okay, we're going slower next time we try that.
I was riding with Lauren and we went bombing through that.
Yeah.
And it was that little Hyundai was just
And then my buddies who ran really capable, they tried and did the same thing.
Yeah, Nick did that on the sand dunes. We tried going where that like little hill climb was. We tried going around up that other sand road.
Yep.
And looking at it, you can't see that it's pitched and divoted like a
almost.
motherfucker. So Nick's like, let's just fly up this. He hit that first one. We cleared the second one, and then we're just like, bam! And Nick was like, oh, and he like freaked out a little bit, put the car in reverse, back down the hill. He's like, we're not going up there again.
Well,
pretty much what we did.
The Bronco actually wasn't the only casualty when I went to Maine. Now that you guys talking about bottoming out, the base camp we were at, I think it's called the Rocky Mountain Trail Park or Train Park or something like that. They have two ways of coming in. Well, from where we were at the hotel, there's a direct route road off the road that the hotel was on. Well, that's like a death track in itself. Well, and the other way is like a lot better and a lot smoother. I didn't know there was another way. Well, what must have happened because I had my buddy's 7.3 that was pulling the trailer. Well, I had to go into base camp with the trailer hooked up so we can talk to some people and stuff, get a group together so we can go pick up the Bronco. Well, either when the trailer was empty or when I had the Bronco carcass on the trailer. Actually, I think it happened before the Bronco carcass went on the trailer. Going on that like death track-esque road, what happened was the exhaust had bottomed out against the pumpkin in the rear diff and crushed the rear brake line. So I drove 8 hours home with this 30-foot flatbed hooked up at highway speeds without knowing that I had a completely crushed brake line. But luckily,
Better than a leaky brake line.
well, that actually was probably why I had to keep putting brake fluid in it every couple hundred miles or so. Luckily, I actually had fluid in with me because I had my big Gambler bin, which has brake fluid in it already because the Dakota has no rear brakes, and I didn't know how bad it was leaking, so I wanted to keep fluid on me. So I actually went through like two of those big tall containers from Walmart of brake fluid. And we put it up on my lift and looking at it, and I'm like, oh, completely pancaked the brake line. I was like, that might be why when I came down a mountain and I had almost no brakes.
Speaking of main gamble, how many teams were there?
It was probably about a little over half a dozen. It wasn't a huge turnout, but I mean
Not
it
too
was.
bad. Hey, for a first one, it's
Yeah,
better.
yeah.
You know, get your feet wet.
Yeah,
with
it's only
small
gonna
ones.
get bigger from there.
We had
I got unlucky with one of the bigger New York ones for my first one.
we had like the majority of the people there were actually from New York. We had the guys I rolled with. We had myself in the Bronco. We had Getty in the Trailblazer. I guess he's ran in a couple of the New York ones, and William Kraft, I think his name is. He had a 90 Chevy that he ran too, and then there was another group that I don't think they've run a New York one, but they're going to be running a New York one. They're from New York. They had a pair of vehicles, and there was actually a group that came up from Virginia.
Nice.
Oh.
They had a Volkswagen like Baja Bug almost like that. I guess blew out a wheel cylinder like the furthest checkpoint away. They ended up having to leave it on the side of a mountain like 3 hours away overnight till they got parts.
I would have just finished the brake line over and driven it back.
Yeah, they had that guy, and then there was a square body Suburban that made it about 5 feet from base camp, and they had brakes locking up, and they wouldn't have made sense to keep going.
Or you just roast them and then
I'm
just
pretty sure the guys
use the
who organized
transmission to
that,
slow down.
Their first gambler was the first Adirondack one.
Yeah, I know.
They brought that station wagon.
Yeah, the station
The lemon
wagon.
station
Yeah,
wagon.
I know they do Lemons Rally with it
Yeah.
too.
I remember they spent Saturday morning pulling the transmission, putting a new main seal in that thing. So, pretty resourceful guys.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Right in the campground.
Those old wagons had a pretty heavy training to them.
Yeah.
Hey, because I think they had either E4Ds or C6s in them.
Yeah, I want to say they were out of there by noon too. It didn't take them that long.
Oh, because we ended up meeting up with them and rolling back to base camp because we met up with them by where the cut up GMC Envoy was dead on the side of the road, and then we went up to where the big National Forest Fire signs and stuff were, and then we just backtracked all the way back with them. Seemed like a good group of guys.
Oh, yeah.
Maine's terrain is a lot different than New York. It's a
Wait
lot
till you
more.
get further north than where you
They got a
guys
lot
It
of
was
hills.
it was a lot more extreme than some of the stuff. I mean, we still have decent mud holes and stuff in New York, but it's just the first death track we went on was just through the woods. You almost made your own path. At some spots you pretty much were making your own path. You were relying on your downloaded maps to make sure you were kind of going in the right direction. There was actually a spot where the GPS made it look like you had to go straight, but you actually had to go right. And it was like through a small pond and up into the woods, and then it all of a sudden darted left and got really bad.
Hey, see here in New York, where if we have anything like that, and I found them, they are no longer public roads, so we can't go down. But I found them. I have driven a few of them, but
Oh,
I can't send 100 cars down.
These were still listed as public roads if you go on the GPS. We're like,
Some of these are. I use a 10-year-old GPS just for that reason. I find all this old stuff.
Oh, okay.
I've come
Makes
down.
sense.
There's one I went down. It was pretty much just growing up in grass. I see it was a road at one time, and I keep going. Almost I end up. I'm in someone's backyard.
oh yeah, what was?
I'm like, okay, you know what? I don't see him. I'm gonna drive through. If I see someone, I'll say, hey, I kind of got a little lost, and
What wasn't there? I don't know if it was in the Finger Lakes around here, if it was up in the Adirondacks, but some people they went on somebody's driveway and got shot at or something like that.
I've heard that. They said it's.
I was there for that one.
Were you?
We had a similar.
Still haven't found
the
where that
GPS
is.
told us to turn. We were going by a rod and gun club, and it
Yeah.
said drive range, and that wasn't enough to deter them. And they just went right up the road. And I see this guy, probably 60 years old, just sprint across the road chasing after him. I was like, oh fuck.
I might now know where that is. Trap range.
Yes.
I found that in the middle of the night when I'm driving through. I'm like, okay, GPS said this is the road. I'm like, what the hell is that? What the hell is that? Like, I realized, oh crap, this is a trap shooting range.
Yeah, we ended up turning around, just kind of taking off the other
Okay.
way. Like,
I-
all right, let's get out of here.
I finally found that before this spring.
Well, because we were going from the first death track there was like a couple of points in between the next death track, and it was like point 3 was the actual death of the Bronco. But we actually had ended up, like, the GPS had us kind of going to the right, so we went to the right because it was like a Y. Well, to the right, we got up to the top of the hill, and it's somebody's driveway. So we're all right. Well, we'll try going left now. Well, left, apparently that road has been closed since 1948, but the GPS still takes you down there. Because I ran into the owner of the property, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you're not the first group to come here." You know, I was like, "All right, well, I don't want to." You know, I asked him where we could turn around because I obviously didn't want to tear up anything. And yeah, he's like, "Oh yeah, this road's been closed since like 1948." I was like, "Well, there's a." He's like, "You didn't see my sign?" I'm like, "Well, no offense, but there wasn't like the sign was." You were already halfway up the road by the time you saw the private property sign. You were already, you know, and there's almost nowhere to turn around, so there was nowhere to go but forward.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot of them. I found them like old roads. My GPS is still showing.
It still has a street sign too.
And I'll sometimes just go just for the heck of it. Go find the other end, just see what it is. Cause it's just curiosity, like where the roads used to be. I got one behind my house. It's all private now, but I've driven it because it's still open, kind of. There's a couple down the road. Like I know I can see both ends of it. I know where it was, but it's all closed down, all private, it's fenced off.
There was that one road we went up, and it was a public road, and then that one lady came up to the top of the hill where the X-Short got buried.
Oh, 29A.
Yeah, and then she
That
comes
whole
up and she's
situation,
acting all nice, and she's
taking-
like, "Oh, you guys got some cool cars," taking pictures. The next one, you know, all we hear is cops. The word
Yeah,
cops,
'cause
and then
we
everyone
came-
fucking scattered and left, and we left our navigator buried in the mud because he was getting towed out by
He's
the
getting
samurai.
towed out the other end.
Yeah, by the samurai
Yeah,
and
because
the Jimmy.
we were going to be more in the way, so we ended up turning around, and then Eric's brother got
Lauren.
the flat. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we get down, we didn't even really. I mean, it was a public road, and the lady's just trying to like act like she owned the place.
Yeah, at first she was cool about it, and then someone went cranking up through the mud pit, and she just.
Yeah.
You guys are the reason I can't come through here with my Ranger anymore. Blah blah blah. Before they went through there, I wouldn't have tried to go through there with anything less than anything less than that samurai.
I first went down the road
35s.
3 years ago. It hasn't gotten any worse.
Yeah, and
Actually, they're making they're making that road
Yeah,
better.
it looks
and-
like they're putting some work into it.
Yeah, and seriously, you know,
Yeah.
ours going through there has not done any damage to
No.
the road. It's been bad as again. Where it's just the rain coming down that hill has been washing it
I
worse
think
and worse.
I think Eric's car actually helped because it had the big truck bed liner under
yeah,
it.
he
so I
like
think
he
smoothed
smoothed
it
it out.
for
He
her.
knocked out
Well,
some of those
actually-
rocks that were in the way.
My buddy, he lives on one of the roads he went down, and like that's one of the worst roads. Every time I go down, it's dirt road. It's just washboards. I drove down a week after the gamble. I'm like, this is the best this road's ever been. Like, did you work on it? Like, he said they spread a little bit of gravel, and then the gamblers went and packed it all in. It's like best the road's ever been. I'm like,
Well,
I posted on our page like,
We gotta
Wish
start
they did some
charging
bigger.
the state then.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because when we were messing with that putting the patch on that tire, there was a highway department truck that went up, and then when we got down to the base of that road, there was either a county or a local police officer that went up there too.
Yeah.
Apparently there was already police up there, but we don't know. They must have came off of an offshoot or something
I
because
heard there was a
they would have
DEC
passed
guy
us.
up there, but
Yeah.
I
As
heard
far as-
someone talked with the highway department guy, told him what we were doing. He was like, "Oh, cool."
That was
Yeah.
probably the guy. That was probably
as
the
far as
guy
I
in the
know,
pickup.
all of it, when he made like one highway department guy, they're like, didn't have a problem with it. Like, it's perfectly fine being up here. Like,
Like we were
it's okay if we're within the rules. We make sure it's public
Yeah,
roads.
it's a public road.
we were on that
we try
ATV
not-
road.
We do our best not to tear it up anymore. Like, I've been down roads that I had this spring. I'm like going down them. I had them rated as a 2 last year. I go down and I find spots. It's just ATV tracks going anywhere there's a mud puddle. They're going across that road every which way you can see. That road turned up to a 4 because it was so bad. It was all ATVs side by side. It was.
Well, they get out there.
People
and
burning
There was that one-
roads down.
Yeah.
When Super, that road that Super Poop buried himself on, that was like an ATV trail and
you
off-road
mean,
trail.
You mean right before it started downpouring
Well, yeah.
completely?
and then
I bent the bumper?
like, two people in side-by-sides actually joined our convoy rolling through the woods rolling with us, and then it starts hailing like hell. And then they're just sitting there getting beat up, and we're blocking the road because Super Poo's buried getting pulled out by the tracker.
That tracker was insane.
I mean, we
Don't
try to do our best. You know,
underestimate the little ones.
we try to do our best to make the roads better, clean them up. Like those ones that the ATVs frequent. You start looking at the sides of the roads. I went down one. I didn't go 100 yards. There's a 12-pack of beer cans on the side of the road.
Yeah,
I'm like, why?
So, I ended up leaving early Sunday because the truck was dead. Did we end up filling that dumpster?
Oh yeah.
We were close.
yeah.
We were
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
That's
close.
awesome.
Yeah.
Because when I left, there was at the end of Saturday, we threw some tires in that recliner I picked up out of the sand pit. And I looked in there and I was like, man, we got a long way to go.
I think
Yeah,
we were
it
probably.
was probably 3/4, 7/8 full, and then the recyclable bin was full. I pulled any bags that were just recyclables. I threw them in the bed of my truck. I ended up turning them in for $80, and I ended up donating to the track.
Nice.
Yeah, we
So for the next one, I want to find a charity.
We were like one of the last
I'm
ones
gonna
to
make
leave on
bins for
Sunday.
all the returnables.
Yeah.
We'll just put them in there, put bags in there. You see it full, just swap the bags out, and we'll return them, and everything will go to some charity.
Yeah, we I guess there's a burnable wood pile, so we pulled the pallet that we pulled off that trail where we got the recliner. We put that in the wood pile. There's a couple pieces of scrap wood too. I think we put in
That
there.
trail kind of caught me off guard because we're just kind of going down a little dirt
And
road
then the big
it
sand
turns into
trap.
a sand pit.
Yeah.
Which
And then,
where that Audi.
That guy was like, he was driving around so recklessly. He almost hit me, and then he came flying around, and then
As soon as he cut it and started doing that donut, and I was like, I've seen people do this in derbies. He's gonna spit a CV shaft.
Yep.
Stops dead right on the rev limiter.
Yep.
I was like, I called it.
Yeah, it was like 3-wheel drive or something like that afterwards or something.
Yeah,
I think it
he
just front-wheel
was
drive.
he was whiskey throttling the hell out of that with too many people around. I
Yeah.
think that was a little too. I mean, yeah, it was cool, but it was also really reckless. It was a little
It was
too
karma
much.
biting him in the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's enough fun to be had. You
Just
don't
like,
need
stop
to-
being stupid.
Yeah.
Snap.
Well,
Yeah,
I think-
everyone's trying to run around and pick up garbage, and he's trying to rip donuts around everybody. It was like, come on.
I
You
think
guys see it? Just say something. Don't.
Well, he broke before anyone could say anything
Yeah.
to him,
Yeah.
so.
I think that was the spot that in the fall run there was people like target shooting up back there, because when I was running with the Crystal Bell in the fall run. This was Sunday because Nick with the lifted Volkswagen, he had broken the day before, so he had went home. So it was just me and Crystal Bell, and they actually ended up having to swap PCMs because the Subaru that gotten the PCM soaked, and I think that was the same spot that when we were doing that, it was people in Jeeps up by those sand pits, and they were like target shooting or something.
Makes sense.
I
You
think-
find all kinds of shells around
Yeah.
there.
Didn't Lauren bury the Hyundai on that hill too?
Yes.
He was like
Yeah.
buried in pitch.
Everybody,
like, about to
I think
roll
everybody
over.
was pretty much burying.
The only one that didn't get stuck on that hill was, again, that little tracker.
Oh, that tracker, that was pretty
He didn't even
impressive.
have any crazy tires on it either.
No.
That it just, I mean, bravo to Chevy, Geo, Suzuki for that
Yeah.
little sidekick tracker.
I mean,
and-
A little abomination of an off-road road.
yeah, that thing, it held to, and like I got some good pictures of him too, driving up when that really steep trail. I mean, it was like one of the longest, bumpiest trails that we went on. But at the top, they had that windmill up at the top of the hill. I got some awesome pictures of him going up there with it, and he had his lights on and everything because it was so dusty. And we just couldn't see him, so we were like, turn your lights on.
Like, that's the only good thing about a light shower. Just keep the dust down. Because there was a few
Yeah.
trails where I was like, if I see brake lights, there ain't going to be enough time to stop.
Riding with Nick, was the first day we went out, and I all of his windows are down. I probably swallowed like 50 pounds of dust that day.
Well, it's no better in the winter. Remember frozen nuts on the way back? We had to leave you guys. You guys couldn't see anything.
Yeah, because I adjusted my headlights right before we went down there. And I was like, perfect. Bombing through the trails all day. This one's down like that. This one's up in the air. So all it's doing is lighting up the blizzard. Like, the weeks leading up to it, next to no snow, I was like, all right, this is going to be a good weekend.
Yeah.
Snowmageddon rolls in.
Yeah, I know.
So we're rolling back to base camp Saturday night, and I'm just doing like 30. Some jackass in a lifted Cummins goes blowing past me. And then
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
remember
oh,
that.
here comes his buddy. They're not going around us. And Eric's like, I think those are Volvo headlights. I was like, get on the radio. Someone get ahead of us if it's Tyler. Surely enough, it was Tyler and Ed, so they got in
Well, I
front
think
of us and they followed us.
I think I was the first one to call. Like, hey, is that the Toyota in front of us or something?
I think, when we first started that frozen nuts, me and the cricket almost freaking didn't even make it to the first trail. My ass kicks out. I look in my rearview mirror and I see freaking cricket damn near in the ditch. Apparently he
Oh.
went in and went back out.
Oh, we had no idea how that Volvo would do it. We had that first hill. We had like all at once. We just could just feel the tires dig all the way down through the snow. Like, you see,
Did better than a one-wheel Wonder 7.3, I can tell you that
Yeah.
much.
I think that first hill we would have made if someone had in four-wheel drive ahead of us.
Well, I stopped because everybody was kind of like starting to lag back, and then I went to restart, and I was like, "Oh, I'm spinning."
We were lagging back because we knew we didn't need momentum to get to the top.
But at the same time, I didn't just want to blow up the hill and leave everybody behind.
Yeah.
And then everybody starts getting stuck.
Yeah.
We go up over the hill, go down the hill. We're sitting at the intersection, and it's like, we should go back. Eric's like, are we going to drive or walk? I was like, we'll walk. We'll come back down through here. Walk all the way back up the hill, meet up with you guys.
Yeah.
We should probably walk down to
Yeah,
the
no,
truck.
if I would have had anything to say, I said just get up that hill and give us room.
Yeah, that Volvo did a lot better than the one-wheel Wonder.
That thing was a one-wheel too, and I don't know how I got that thing 3/4 of the way up that hill from a dead stop in the middle of that hill.
Was that front-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive?
rear-wheel drive?
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Well, you also probably had more weight over your ass than I did.
Yeah, that was part of it. I had those cut tires, which were brand new tires that I spent the entire night before. I didn't get any sleep before that gambler, and drove all the way down there then. But cut them all out so they had half the tread and had a lot of edges, and then about 200-300 pounds of tools in the trunk, and
See,
it looked pretty good.
I probably had about 400 or 500 pounds of sandbags in the bed of my truck, plus all my gambler stuff. I probably needed it probably
Those
about
trucks are
another
still so
Well,
light.
you also had, what were those, 35 12.5s or 13.5s?
12.5s, I think.
You still had over a foot of contact, so it was just kind of like, yeah, we'll disperse the weight. No, don't disperse
Yeah, you know, during going through snow, you want
Yeah,
to run
snow,
really
you want
narrow
narrow
tires.
tires
Narrow
look
and
better.
tall is what
I
you
was
want
going to
to
say,
go
there's
with.
narrow and tall snow tires on that frame out back, and I was like, should I put those on or should I run the mud tires? I'll run the mud tires.
Yeah,
Those tires surprised me.
when I was plowing snow, I like it's 4 o'clock in the morning, it's snowing where you can't see 2 feet in front of you, and then turns out there was a turn, so I ended up, I think it was someone's front yard, but I mean, I got stuck, and then I was like, fuck, and I opened my door. I couldn't even open my door because the snow was so far around it, and it was a Chevy 2500, and then I just put that bitch in the reverse, dropped my plow a couple times to kind of like dig a little hole in the front so I could make some room to pull it out, hammer down, and that bitch backed right out, surprisingly, but it's because of those, you gotta run those really narrow tires, but they work awesome in the snow. The wider you go, the more problems you're gonna have.
Wide's good in the mud, not
Yeah.
so much in the snow.
Yeah. Well, Sunday morning I frozen nuts. Everyone else, we decided we were thinking whether we go run with everyone a little bit more or just go home. Well, we decided to go home. Everyone else left, went to go help Sean put brakes on his truck. So we're there by ourselves. Truck and trailer is up closer to Kevin's cabin where we normally park the trailers. Volvo's down by the shed. We're like, okay, there's about a foot of snow everywhere in the driveway. So we're like, okay, where can we get the Volvo past where the truck's got to come through so we can get loaded up? So we tried going in the little turnoff. Couldn't get in there with the Volvo. We tried about 4 or 5 times. Just couldn't get it in there. There's too much snow. So we're like, and we're not going to try to load it on the road because it's all bad. You know what? We're just going to drive this thing until we find a spot. So we just started driving the Volvo home. It's like, the thing did great all yesterday.
The Volvo bobsled, where me and Sean nearly died. What was that, Saturday morning, I think it was?
That. We're all standing around talking, and I was like, oh, here comes Sean. And then I hear smash, and I was like, wait, what? Locks up all the wheels and just starts slaloming down Kevin's driveway. I was like, oh, this is going to go bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, our Volvo did a
Did he
lot
hit the
better.
same tree that
'cause-
Nick hit?
No, he actually hit a boulder and messed something in the front end up.
Oof.
Well, we also bottomed it out, too. I think that was probably because I was sitting in it, so I probably squished it down a little bit, too.
Yeah.
So
Kevin couldn't believe that Eric got his truck up to his cabin that Saturday night after all that. Somehow we got the Volvo all the way up there.
I don't think Volvos are allowed anywhere near Kevin's driveway, because it just
It usually ends
goes,
bad.
yeah.
Ours didn't. No, ours we got stuck one time. We actually got it stuck in sideways. I'm like, okay, we gotta get this one. We'll try with some speed. To get it out of there, I actually had to tell him, spin the wheels and I'll push you sideways to get you out of there. So we got out of there and I told him, Ed of course was driving. I wasn't driving. I had made it up there, but I was driving. I said, just go. And we made it all the way to the top.
Yeah, I was going to drive all the way to the top to Kevin's driveway, but I didn't know how his driveway works. So Friday night when I went down there, I had stopped because I think it was the other short bus, the yellow one. I had figured everybody was there. I didn't realize that the driveway kept going, and then I went to go move, and I was like, okay, truck doesn't want to move, so we're gonna park it here and walk it the rest of the way.
Yeah, the road did get worse on the way down. I drove on the way down, and I had to kind of go into the corners, hit the brakes. He wants to lock. I just kind of drift the corners, just keep it out from the ditches. But we made it.
I'll say Sean hasn't been having the best of luck with his Volvo so far this year. Because that car show they went to, he
Yeah.
Got almost there, goes to pull in, the wheel falls off, just drops right on the rotor.
In the entrance of the car show, that's classic.
Yeah.
It was like a
All these
Euro
car
show.
people just show.
Everyone's there with like nicely done up cars, and then here comes this lifted Volvo. Oh, there goes the wheel. Done. Eric said he walked up and just sees it sitting there on the rotor. And,
Didn't all the bolts snap or something like that? I think.
No, he did all that work and forgot to tighten the wheel spacer.
Oh no.
Good times.
Yeah, my solution for the one wheel wonder for the snow is going to be to hang a front axle on that thing. 4-wheel drive swap. Call it a day.
Yeah.
You could just do that thing where you mount a couple of old steely rims on the outside and just like get like a bungee cable to strap
Yeah.
between them. And
He had a winch. Even that didn't help a whole lot.
That winch is actually now on the Dakota.
Probably a good thing you didn't put it on the Bronco.
Yeah. Well, they already had actually, I was gonna my quad. I have a spare winch that I was actually that's supposed to be for the Jeep. Thursday night, I was actually gonna put that winch on, but I was like, the battery terminals were like about that big because they were covered in corrosion. I was like, if I get into this tonight, I'm not making it tomorrow, so we're gonna leave it alone.
That was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have them on. I got that winch for what was it, $160, not brand new, 9,000 pound.
Damn.
Bought that for Brearley Cape. Still haven't gotten that mounted. I finally got the front receiver. I got a rig onto there, but I have finally started using it. I made a mount for my trailer, and that thing is slick for loading dead vehicles onto that trailer.
I almost kind of want to see if I can get the melted Warren winch to work on that. Came on that Bronco.
If it doesn't work, I know a guy who rebuilds them.
It's slightly melted, so I don't know if it's going to be any use to anybody.
Tyler's a professional in getting stuff that sees the
Like I
work.
said, he's a gambler. He's Brian Lincoln. He's up in.
It's an older Warren, I can tell you that much.
But at the same time, if the outside of it got that hot, would you trust it?
I mean, he literally rebuilds electric motors, starters, and stuff.
Well, no, but like the casing for the winch.
You might need
If
to
that
get
got if that got really hot and then cooled back off, it could have weakened it.
maybe.
So it's like, yeah, you can get all new internals. You might shatter the case when you hit it, but you'll have all.
I mean,
new
I'm
internals.
reusing the bumper.
It's a gambler.
Watch that bumper just shatter like glass the first
I've
bump
seen
you
sketchier
hit.
stuff. For example, a 2,000 pound winch mounted to the radiator support on a Monte Carlo. Glad those guys didn't have to use it because they probably pulled that whole front end out of that car.
Was that the red one?
Yes.
The one that Mitchell, I think it was.
Yeah.
That's the red one that's been passed around. I had it for a few months. And
Yeah, because they were following us on day one.
Yeah, every stone you could hear that bouncing off the bottom of that car.
Oh.
They hit everything.
Oh yeah,
bumping
there was a
out
few
so
cringe
bad.
moments. You're
funny
like,
thing,
yeah.
I gave that to my boss for the fall one. But all he did was put tires on the front end. He was gonna try lifting it, but that didn't work. So he put a skid plate on it. Yeah, going down Flat Rock Road, all he did was no.
And then
he
you just see
graded
a
that
rock
whole road with that
flying
car.
out,
That's
yeah.
all he did. That skid plate is now formed to that subframe. So
well, when I was in Mexico last week, we went on an ATV excursion out like through the woods and stuff, and they put like homemade skid plates in the front of all the ATVs. I was pretty much bouncing it off the skid plate the entire time. I was like, hey, it's there.
well,
It's there. I'm gonna use it.
I got about 2 mile road by me. I took the BMW down that one time. All I did was we were just blasting AC/DC, I went about 45 miles an hour down that road and did not give a crap. I think I bent every skid plate. I got 5 skid plates on that BMW. I bent every one of them, pulled a couple bolts out of the skid plates. I bent one bolt around 45 degrees, grade 8 bolt.
That's impressive. Usually those just shear.
Yeah, no, that thing bent right around. But she made it home and didn't break anything major. Skid plates did their job.
That Dakota, you cannot go fast down washboard roads because the ass just goes that way.
There was one road. It was a paved road. There was a little bump in it, and we were right behind you. I see you hit that, and the whole thing just kind of shifts over like it wants to go Formula D on you. I was like, oh, this is gonna be
I've done that.
bad.
I've done that a good dozen times this year between starting in my good truck and coming back from Happy Valley in Brearley Cable. We were running a little late, so I'm like, I got Jake Leach in the Yaris behind me. I'm bombing these roads about 50 miles an hour. Hit a little bit of washer, almost truck goes sideways. I'm like, I did that 2 or 3 times before. I'm like, just about lost with the truck. Straighten her back on, just keep on going.
Isn't it? It was Matt. I think he's the one who's over.
Yeah,
he went over
Matt's
to
over in
Iceland.
Iceland.
Yeah, he did. He's at the Iceland Gambler, and he's still showing some.
Looking at the pictures and videos from that, it looks like a good time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just the. I mean,
I told him
Just
to bring
being able to
back
see the
exotic
views that
foods.
he's at and the photos.
And
it's
24 hours a day, like,
incredible.
they're gambling all day around.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like,
I mean, we kind of do too.
He put up one video. He's like, "It's 2 a.m." and I was like, "It looks like it's 3 in the afternoon on an overcast day."
I definitely think next year's gonna be the day. Gonna be the year I go to the OG though.
yeah.
Dude,
Loading up the trailer.
the fact that Christian went with that Exploder Sport Track and it survived.
It wasn't
No,
a sport
no,
track.
it was just a regular Explorer. It was the
Explorer.
one that
Regular.
he ran in Frozen Nuts with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they brought to the spring. I thought that was
No, it's not a sport track. It's a regular sport.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
the one that attempted to push my decrepit one-wheel wonder up a hill.
Dude, he did really good with those shitty Goodyear fucking puzzle piece tires. The Wrangler Radial STs. The worst tire ever made, but the only size you can get for a Blazer. Because we're bombing through the snow heading to the death track where everyone was buried. And I rode on the step rail up to the trail because I was just walking. We get up there, I jump off, I look at the tires, I was like, no fucking way. That's all he has on this thing. He's been keeping up with us in every trail, not falling back any, and that's what he's running.
Yeah, I'm actually glad we didn't come up because we were coming up on the backside of the death track, so
Yeah.
we only got so far and started walking. Like, we should just come with you guys to park where everyone else was. I mean, the Volvo, if Kevin almost made it with his knee on, we probably could have made it back there with the Volvo.
Yeah.
You planning on running another Frozen Nuts this year?
Well, we want to. Actually, we were thinking about trying to figure out a way to have my house as base camp.
Either your house or we could talk to, I know there's some off-road parks down the southern tier, like
Yeah.
backcountry four-wheelers. There's another one that a few people have been talking about.
Yeah.
Any of those, if they're willing to host us, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I'd have to either get it off of somebody, or I might have it still on myself. I can't. My brain just stopped working. We could probably go somewhere along the lines. Probably use the points from last year and figure out some more stuff. I mean,
Kind of figure out some stuff to get us down to the southern tier points.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Even if we started up here too, yeah. I mean, I could make my mud pit bigger, and we can have everybody start going through there or something. You know, I mean, we got plenty of parking. We just, if there's a lot of snow, we're gonna have to, probably pack down the snow so we're not burying trailers and stuff.
Frozen Nuts, I don't expect to be a big thing, but
How many guys did you get last
we
year?
only had what 6 points that anyone got to. You don't need a ton of points.
Yeah, we probably only had probably a dozen or so people. You'd say maybe a little more.
Cold scares people.
That was our convoy. There was
There was more. Yeah.
I think
Probably.
I think there were 3 convoys, 2 of 6 each, and I think another one of 4 that.
It was probably closer to 20. I would say.
because there was the Death Proof Bronco, the big GP was with. I'm pretty sure there's a couple other big lifted vehicles with them. The full size Bronco and
Yep,
the
they did
big
the full-size
K20
Bronco.
from down south.
Yep.
Yeah, there was the gorgeous Bronco that inside Jumbo. That's JR Broncos.
That goofy little fucking Honda CRV that decided it wanted to go through the death track and went right up to the floorboards.
Gamblin's was there, and he had the
Yeah.
the Bronco 2.
The little GMC Jimmy that was pulling everybody, or no, the sidekick that was pulling everybody out.
Again.
Didn't we drive by the Gambulance dead on the side of the road when we were leaving?
Yeah,
on Sunday.
Yeah,
he said it was done.
Yeah, someone said it was transmission, and then I heard it was just a flat.
That was what, spring?
Yeah, spring.
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
year.
no, they lost the lug nuts on one of their wheels is what happened.
Oh.
So we got there, they didn't have a working jack and stuff. So we were out, we thought Juan's we were trying to figure out where somebody worked. We thought, from what Juan sent back, it sounded like he was stuck in one of the death tracks. We went, go recovery. Come past them, like, we threw our jack in there, got them, so, they pulled some lug nuts out there just so they were ready to go when they came back with the rest of the lug nuts for it. But yeah, I think they were ready to go once they got the rest of the team there.
I was gonna say something. I forgot. Brain noodle stop working. But yeah, we definitely want to try to do another Frozen Nuts this year. Whether we, figure out a way to stuff everyone in a 1,400 square foot ranch and start that as a base camp, or we use an off-road park. We definitely want to try to get something together.
I don't imagine the off-road parks do a lot during the winter. So
Yeah.
If we could pick, like, when they have some downtime and do it one of those weekends, and then just kind of not try to fuck everything up, and then see if they'll host us for the fall and whatnot. And that way we can alternate Southern Tier, Adirondacks. That way you're not 24/7.
Yeah.
I gotta as soon as I'm done scouting for this one and run it, like I start scouting for the fall and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So that way it kind of splits the load up.
Yep.
Because I know down here, Eric usually is willing to scout. Nick will scout. I'll scout now that the truck's back together and going.
Yeah,
I'd even go scouting on the lawnmower if I had to.
yeah, I'll have the Dakota together. That's I do think though I'm gonna get the majority of the work done on the Dakota this summer. Get ready for the fall. I'm gonna run it in the fall, and then I think after that, want to play past the Gambler with that. We could. I don't know if there's any, if we'll have anybody interested in that, but because I've got the 7.3 and the Bronco that I'm gonna be building and the Camry, so
yeah.
So I'll have those. So and even the Jeep too if I want to get that done.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to bury the cable back up so I can actually use that for scouting this time, because I got it done like right before the Gambler. It was supposed to be my scouting race, so I didn't tear apart the good truck again. That truck's got more Gambler miles than any Gambler that's done any of the Adirondack regions.
I think Kevin might have you beat.
Well,
no, because I've driven everything
Yeah,
twice
good
over.
But
he has gone to the OG before, so
Yeah.
you kind of.
It kind of balances out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe. Like, we all get back to base camp, and everyone's like, "Where's Kevin?" Well, they just checked in. They got a few checkpoints left to go.
I haven't actually, and we didn't get a chance, but I thought Kevin had it, and we didn't really check pictures. But there's one guy who rivaled Kevin with how many points he had. What's his name? Sean. He came from, I think it was Ohio, with the white Subaru.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
The
yeah.
guy-
We ended up having it.
We gave him Super Poos. We gave him Super Poos
Yeah.
spare because it was
Yeah.
a full
Yeah.
size.
He was
and
about
it
as
ma-
hardcore as
it matched
Kevin. He was
everything he
hitting
had.
every
Dude,
point. So it's it's
Subaru impressed me.
It's actually probably a toss up between him and Kevin as to who actually got the most points.
Yeah, he he went and bought some new rims and some wheels for that Impreza wagon, or was it I don't remember, Legacy or
Who's that
Impreza.
president?
And then he was running, I don't remember which Gambler it was, and he wasn't paying attention, and he actually snagged the back right wheel on a rock and bent the rim up on a brand new rim that he just put on it and blew it flat. So he ended up having to put the wheel that Super Poo gave him
And
back
then
on
we
again.
painted it. We spray painted it with the cheap spray
Yeah,
paint
I ended
black,
up-
so
I
it
ended
would
up having-
match.
yeah, I ended
We
up
wrote
having
like
some cheap
Super
spray
Poo
paint.
in the spray paint and
Yeah.
stuff.
But it's funny that friggin' spare tire from Super Poo actually saved that car twice on two different Gamblers in two
Yeah.
different states.
Well, I remember when we were rolling up to one of the checkpoints. It was one of the bars right before one of the death tracks.
That's where he was limping out.
Yeah, that's where we saw him getting his tire changed. They're
Is that
doing
Jocko's?
NASCAR pit stop on the side of the road. We all pull into the bar.
Yeah.
I was like, that's gambler spirit right there.
Yeah.
Because there was like 8 cars that were stopped there helping him.
Well, yeah, you see it all the time now. Like you see a gambler side, we did it too. Like everyone pulls over and
Yep.
finds out what they need.
Yeah, that's what we did in the fall when the guys with the well, it was originally I think it was like some Isuzu or something or a Toyota truck they had pulled over and they had engine issues or whatever. So our group stopped to see what was going on, and then the guys with at the time it was the 350 swap BMW and the
That fucking car.
and one of the TDI Volkswagens. It was like one of the 90s ones. And that thing was just spontaneously combusting randomly while we were working on the Isuzu and everything else and, shooting the shit. So, I guess he had electrical issues. He's just like, oh, it's on fire again. And we're just like, again?
That sounds like Juan's Jeep. It's on fire again.
It seems like the Jeeps have the best stories, because between the Jeepelope and Juan's Jeep, there's always something terrible going wrong. and they're just
Foresters
like,
have got the
whatever.
Jeeps on and run though. Foresters are getting a
Yeah.
No, they're just blowing the rear struts out and getting put back together with logs.
Yeah, putting the forest in the
Consistently.
forester.
Exactly.
And what was it?
Bring the
I think
forest
they went to
home.
Home Depot and built some 2x4s too.
Ace. It was Ace.
Yeah.
One team hit up
Or
Ace
the-
for some 2x6 or something.
The Matthew Wands pressure treated steel.
Yep. Yeah, he got the pressure to steal it in Canada.
That's awesome.
I can't imagine the border
I can't believe he
crossing for Canada with
that-
gamblers. Like,
that border agent was probably like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
I can't believe he kept alien and then did the lemons.
yeah, they did
the
the.
four bangers.
Yep. They met up with
Rally too.
some of the guys from up in Maine. Yeah.
That's nuts.
Him and Matt Leach are definitely hitting up the gamblers.
Yeah, they're doing like all the East Coast ones.
The Jeep and the Coupe, well, the second Coupe.
Coupe 2.0.
Those are just going everywhere.
Yep.
They took them up to Canada, came back. They did.
That was just a Jeep. They didn't take
Oh,
a
yeah.
coupe to that one.
They did.
The Lemons one with
Yeah,
the
from
coupe.
here up to Bangor and back with the coupe and the Jeep. He was keeping score of how many times I had to stop to fuel up the Jeep. I think it ended up being like 5-2 last I saw.
Something like that, yeah. And then, the coupe's still having fuel pump issues, blowing fuel lines up.
Damn. Didn't see that part.
Yeah, no, I think he was getting close to home. He finally blew another fuel line on the fuel pump.
Yeah, I think next year I'll probably end up going to a couple more events too.
Will this be the
If I had more
inaugural
vacation,
100
if I had
this
more
year?
vacation, I would.
For
Yeah.
New York, yes.
This is the inaugural New York 100. I want to try to get Captain on before then so he can tell us all about it. Maybe finally tell us where base camp's actually going to be. I know it's at his house, but he hasn't given out the address.
He doesn't want us showing up
I-
before it.
I'm trying to figure out how far I got to go.
You're all
That
gonna
way I
get a
can figure
message
out-
on Instant Messenger like an hour before the
Yeah.
event, being like, "Here's my
I'm
address."
trying to figure out if I got to get the Silverado and put everything in the bed of that, or if I can find a little trailer and limp my Toyota down there with a trailer on it.
Yeah,
Because
I
I don't
gotta
have
figure-
any lights on the trailer.
Yeah, I got figure something else. I would like to take the Beerly Capable down there, but it's not gonna even have a bed come that time.
You
so
don't
I'm
need
like,
a
Just
yes,
zip,
but I need someone to put
do
the,
like me and zip tie the taillights
the
in.
Gamble 100 lawnmower.
Well, I had a kid in my college, one of my college classes. He was actually from, oh shoot, what's?
I will be right back.
He's
Yeah,
out.
beer.
He's out
Want
by.
Alec, you want a beer?
I'm all set. He's out by middle of nowhere, New York, a little further north from here. He had taken his family had like a picnic bench, so he had taken the table off of it, and actually that was his bed on his F-150.
Yeah, well, the reason it probably won't work is because not only I take the bed off, and I want the sides back on it, and I got the toolbox that's on it, and another aluminum toolbox. I'll be mounting the bed. I'll be mounting 2 spare tires in the back, so there's going to be no room to put the Gamble 100, so I'm probably going to find a trailer.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how we're getting our 2 homemade bikes up there. Hopefully I should have my flatbed done by then. I'll probably just strap them to the flatbed and then pull the camper
bikes
behind
shouldn't
it.
be bad. Lawnmower's a little bigger.
I am not actually driving in anything. I am going to be getting towed by Chad in a trailer. I don't know if anyone remembers, but my assholeness, I was riding on the roof of Super Pool when we were hitting the mud pits at AIS. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun riding in a trailer with a car seat, and then we got to figure out a strap, or I'm just going to hold on for dear life, but it's going to be a good time.
If we were doing it in the winter, what we could have done is I have a full interior from my 05,
I'd have you guys just pull me on a snowboard.
05 F-250, and they're lariat seats, so they're heated. Run it in the winter and figure out a way to make the heated seat work.
Hey, I got a BMW parts car with 2 heated seats in it. I was actually, you're sitting in the Cavalier one. I was going to make another bar stool. Middle of winter, I was getting, it was cold in here. I was going to hook up a battery and make a heated seat bar stool. I just never got
if that
to it.
caught on fire and burned my barn, I'd have been a little upset.
You just don't have the battery when you're not in here.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have any potential
Trust
fire
me,
hazards with me.
My
standing
wiring is
around
way
here.
better than what I found in my Grand Am. My Grand Am had a whole bunch of 12-volt outlets hooked up. Well, I finally decided, okay, this thing keeps draining the battery. I gotta figure out what's up with this setup. Okay, I thought they had just epoxied the 12-volt plug into the outlet. No, I started taking it apart. There was no 12-volt outlet. They had 2 wires running through, soldered together, completely bare. I could touch them and they were arcing. then they were just kind of wired with the wire twisted around and epoxied onto the 12-volt outlet, which is stuck through the hole and epoxied in. Then that was wired back into another one that was done the same way into a 3-outlet thing. I can't believe this thing's gonna start on fire.
It seems like every car I've had that I've bought used from a less than desirable member of society, the wiring
Dakota.
is obliterated.
Because they probably tried to put their own CD player in. That's usually how
Dude,
that always goes.
I went through probably 7 taillight harnesses on my first Honda Civic because the right rear was always going out. I'd replace it, it'd be fine for a while, and it would blow out. Finally, I got sick of it, traded it for the Toyota, told the kid, yeah, car's great condition. Floorboard was gone, the back was starting to rot out again, the wiring was cob jobbed. I had the shift linkage. If you try to find the shift linkage for a 1.5 liter, you can't find them aftermarket.
Mm-mm.
You have to find a stock OEM one, and they all have 200,000 miles, and the bushings are gone. And I was just like, yeah, it'll be fine. Dude dropped Toyota off, put his plates on that Civic, and drove it home. I had cranked the coilovers as low as they would go. It had 3-inch. It was aftermarket header, and then just 3-inch straight, no cat, no muffler, nothing. He was like 4 intersections up that way, and I could still hear it just ripping along. And I was like, I'm surprised he made it that far. You couldn't get reverse. You could put it in any gear and have full side-to-side movement. I was like, it's an old school Honda. They're all like that. Okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to be jiggly like
takes
that.
it, goes along his way, and hasn't looked back.
There's actual wire nuts holding. I was putting the new transmission in my buddy's 7.3. I had it out, and I wasn't sure if the starter you had to get it out or not. So I was just looking at the starter, and one of the main wires for the starter is actually wire nut from the truck to the starter. I told my buddy about it, and I still haven't fixed it. Apparently, there's more house wiring on it somewhere. He said so.
Well, I was just in my Cavalier that I'm going to turn into a race car today because I need to pull a
He
master.
did just say Cavalier race car. You did hear that correctly.
Dude, the 4-cylinder dirt guys love the Cavaliers for some reason.
Yeah.
Cavalier.
Probably because you can go to the junkyard and rebuild it 55 times over and not touch anything bad.
They're actually pretty fast out there. If you know
I'll
what to
give
set
them
them up.
that.
But
If you do
anyway,
it right, they get
this
it.
one was actually, it had a bunch of aftermarket parts on it. Someone ran into a tree sideways. So eventually I got it. It's a rust-free shell. Can't really go wrong with that.
No.
But I was in it and needed a master cylinder to put in my Grand Am because that blew up on me yesterday. I'm under the dash looking at like, okay, here's a random switch. Here's some wiring and some terminals. And I look under the hood. Here's some random wiring. Like, this might take some work to get running. There's a lot of random wiring hacks in here.
I've bought so many old trucks and stuff that just have a switch on the dash. It doesn't go to anything. It's just a mystery switch.
Yep.
I think both of my OBS Fords had it. I think my Broncos had it. Even the Dakotas had one.
Well,
The Toyota had a mystery
I'm
switch. It wasn't
pretty-
wired to anything.
I'm pretty sure the switch in this one is possibly an ignition, like a anti-theft switch.
There you go.
Well, I also know that my purple car, when I got it, the ignition was kind of screwed. So they wired a push button under the dash. This was actually my downfall when I did a 3-week build on it. I forgot to put the clutch in and actually bumped the starter. It's got no neutral safety switch.
Ooh.
Locked the starter up and screwed the transmission when I did that. I was like, in the process, I loaded up on the trailer to drive to Ohio with that car. After a 3-week build, like, flip down the nothing and back together, like, it's done, I'm loading on the trailer, I'm going, and then I do that.
Ooh.
Needless to say, I spent 3 hours running late. I'm like, let's throw the Achieve on the trailer for this, and we're gonna not bring a J-Body to the J-Body bash.
Man, 3 weeks. That's a whole lot of time. Surprised.
Well,
That's
that
a
was
lot of time. We average probably.
that was pulling the motor, pulling the subframes, pulling the suspension, pulling the interior down to a shell, and I literally rebuilt it all back together.
See, there's a few Derby cars we've run that have had 3+ weeks into them. The one we brought to Mini Meltdown, I'd say we probably had 3 months into it.
I built full-on race cars. I think my first Cavalier race car I built in 3 days. Full cage, full safety equipment, everything. I loaded that on the trailer with wet paint and raced it that night. I don't know.
That's awesome.
I had a buddy while I was building, saying you'll never make it, you'll never get it done. His car was built. He never made it to that race. I'm there racing. I'm like, where are you? Needless to say, 2 weeks later, we were both there again. He never raced on dirt either, but he had a car he's been racing on ice longer than I have, and he got out there. I think he made 2 laps. Was scared to throw on a half-mile dirt with that car. I blew past him on the first corner.
Was that in the Oldsmobile?
No, that was in I had a 99 2.4 powered LS 4-door Cavalier.
So you're familiar with these race car Cavaliers then?
I'm very familiar with these 2.4 quad 4s. The Oldsmobile is another one that kind of got that because of the same reason.
What you ought to do, now that you've got it mastered, try going to independent throttle bodies. Or just a single 2-barrel carburetor.
I'm going carb, but not 2-barrel. Weber. I got 2 intakes. 2 sets of intakes. So I can do 2 cars with them. And a distributor setup. So that's actually one of my purple car. Once I get a good motor on it, that's my next step. Is
See, once you figure that
eliminate
out,
the ECU.
Someone put a 4-barrel on a carb Cavalier.
Actually, if I wanted to, I have actually found an intake built for a 4-barrel for
Oh,
those quad fours
I say we
on eBay.
we usually run 2-barrel Hollies on the Chevy 3100s. It's interesting because 4 wires you can run that whole car.
Yep.
All you gotta do is adjust the carburetor and just it eliminates rev limiter, limp mode, all that hindering shit. Although it is kind of a pain in the ass because you hit wrong and something jars on the carburetor and then it wants to run like shit and you gotta go wide open.
See, this Cavalier I've been going for, eventually I'm going to build a motor. If I can't get there with a stock motor, with the carbs in that, I want to go in a little deeper with it. I want to hit 300 horsepower with the crank NA. It can be done.
I've seen it.
And a 4-cylinder.
I'm pushing over, as it sits, should be pushing over 200 because I got the original header made for this. The header alone is supposed to give that thing 20 horse. Long tube. And I got the original that all the others were copied off of on that car.
Nice.
I can't believe we have a conversation going about building Cavaliers into 300 horsepower race cars.
Gambler.
Well, when I built this car, 3-week build, I was gunning for a guy who's got just a nasty NA Ecotech drag Cavalier.
Surprisingly, those Ecotechs can get mean. Like,
Yeah.
if you build it right, they'll go.
So, my goal was,
As far as the compact.
he's building an Ecotech.
Nasty and Ecotech.
I was building a purple
sentence.
95 Cavalier with a W41 out of a Achieve SCX in it. Stock is 190 crank horsepower. So it doesn't take many tweaks to get the thing over 200. He was pushing 220 out of his.
Most people don't think about it because, like, the Grand Ams and shit, like the big 4-doors with a little 4-cylinder, it's all power to weight.
Mm-hmm.
If you, like, my old Civic was probably, I think it was 2187 for weight. So it had 60 horse.
I got that purple
It
car.
would go. If I had 200 horse in that, it would have been walking.
That purple car is gotta be close to sub 2,000 pounds. It's got one seat and a dash in it. And I have a new roof skin. I am taking the sunroof out of it and putting a new roof skin on it just to reduce the weight. Moving the power windows, moving power locks, everything.
Pull the dash bar, put a bar across it.
Oh, there is
make
probably
your
going to
own
be a
steering
carbon
wheel.
fiber dash on it eventually.
Don't even bother with
I
the
have
dash.
Carbon fiber.
All you need is a bar to hold your steering wheel support. The
And
toggles
some
on
gauges,
it.
Oh, I
yeah.
know.
That's all. That's how we do most of our builds.
Yeah, I could do that.
This is
We did that in my brother's race car once. He had a little 1.8 liter, 90 horsepower Eclipse that was smoking Ecotechs, twin cams all day long because that engine drove on. It ran an alternator and a water pump. That's all that was on the accessory drive. The hatch was removed, just a piece of aluminum to cover it. Doors were good. Interior, all I had was the cage, all the safety equipment. Everything else, there was nothing left.
Yeah.
That car was light and fast.
Dude, we don't even run the alternators on the derby cars anymore.
Yeah,
Just get a big deep cycle marine battery. And I'm not going to give out too much information, but a certain size lawnmower belt, you can run it power steering around the crank, and then it just puts enough pressure on the water pump to turn it. Given it turns it backwards, just pop the thermostat out, and you have a shorter belt. You don't have to worry about the alternator getting crushed or anything. And then you just run it.
Sounds like what we do on the two cavies. We eliminate power steering and the AC with one belt.
Well, I mean, Chevy Lumino's a bit heavier than the Cavalier, so you want some power steering in there.
Yeah, especially the older ones. Those things are solid steel.
Actually, I took the power steering out of my Cavalier, built a custom rack for it. That thing is twitchy. Like, you get going 20 miles an hour, I'm like, I touch that wheel, that thing is all over the road. I gotta figure out how to dampen that. It's so twitchy with that custom built rack.
I'm over here with my heavy trucks where you pretty much need power steering. Good luck.
We had a customer blow one of the balance lines out of their power steering rack on a Dodge Dakota. That was a workout pulling it in the shop. You had to reef on it.
I had an Oldsmobile Alero, and I was delivering pizzas. And the Monroe County Water Authority had patched up a water main break, and then they paved over it, but they didn't mark that the pavement was still wet. So I go to pull it, like, to do a K-turn in the middle of the road, and the car just goes, And I'm like, fuck, like I'm stuck in mud or something. So I'm like hammering down in the transmission trying to get myself out. And then I get out of the car and I realize all four wheels are underground and the thing's sitting on the frame and the car's overheating because it's putting all this weight underneath it. And then I ended up getting the guy with the tow truck. He actually had to get into the tow truck while he was using the winch and drive the tow truck with the winch to get the car out of the hole. And then I get it back into my driveway. It starts. I'm like, fuck it, let's go to work tomorrow. And then I go to work, and then I didn't know that the power steering was leaking. So about like second turn, I go around the corner and take this turn while I'm doing 45 miles an hour, and the fucking car didn't turn. So like, I'm like, I don't know if you ever driven a car with no power steering.
Oh.
You have to have the strength of Thor to be able to like really get that thing to turn, and you're muscling that wheel as you're going around. And I got a workout that night. That's for damn sure.
I disagree. I was actually racing my Cavalier one time, and I get pushed into the snowbank real hard. What it must have done is spike the pressure in the power steering, to shear the hex shaft off that power steering pump. So I'm driving without power steering. Like, okay, I'm kind of checking. Okay, there's no power steering. Like, okay, hold on. The belt, that's not driven on the belt, so I don't have to worry about overheating. So I'm like, I just went for it. It went great. I put new power. Then next week I put new power steering pump on. I'm like, ran a few more times like that. I'm like, you know what? I'm oversteering too much on this. I'm gonna put that old pump back on and run with no power steering. I haven't put power steering back on that car yet.
Nice.
It actually works way better without the power steering.
Is it the smaller Cavalier?
2-door?
4-door.
Oh.
Yeah. This is a 99.
So your weight wouldn't have been much different than the Alero would have.
No.
I'm waiting for the day my buddy's 7.3, the power steering pump decides it's had enough and gives up, and we gotta turn his freaking 12 wide 35s with no freaking power steering. We're backing trailers up, and that thing's screaming away. The power steering pump's screaming away because it's trying to turn these freaking 35s. And then you guys we had a built transmission in it, so you're going from drive to reverse, and it's throwing you through the freaking truck. So. Actually, that truck had I had the transmission out of it 2 weeks before we even were supposed to go to the main event. So it wasn't even just even the Gambler wasn't ready. It was the tow pig too.
Oh yeah.
We
I don't even run in the Gamblers anymore, and I still end up fixing Gambler race. Night before, I think it was before the spring event, I was up till 4 a.m. putting a bumper on Barely Capable.
Oh. It was actually before I was supposed to leave for spring. I was on 90 minutes of sleep that Friday.
Oh yeah, well while you're here, I will say this: we need more toilet paper. Sunday morning, I get up at 5 o'clock to go take a dump, and there's some shit covered underwear and socks all over the place in front of the porta potty because there was no toilet paper. So that person or those, well, I'm sure it was people because there was a bunch of it laying out there. They were pretty resourceful, but I was smart and brought my own. But we definitely need some more toilet paper in those porta johns.
I do need to get on the track. I was on them, like, I was hoping they'd do it. Like, I didn't have time to check, but we do need to make sure the bathroom's up. I've been off. I think the issue is they didn't have a generator. I think is what it was. They didn't say that, but
You got flashlights.
I've been offered a generator. To run the water.
Oh.
I've been offered a generator to use. So I'm planning to have that open for a couple hours every night for showers and bathrooms and
Showers.
Shower.
And also that's what they go through and actually clean the porta johns probably Saturday. Well,
They weren't dirty. It was just there was no toilet paper.
They
if I remember, I will bring an extra. I'll buy toilet paper for you guys.
Go to the dollar store and get like the 36
the Angel
rolls.
Soft.
Sorry, I'd probably be the nice guy. I'd go to BJ's and buy where I eat my normal toilet paper because
Get a pallet of it for $50.
Yeah.
I got room on the trailer.
Yeah. The other thing, I feel like Friday night we should just only do like kiddie trails because I feel like a lot of people
Talon.
Yeah, that was so funny when you came around
the
on
other
that.
thing, I noticed it spring. It was hilarious, but I feel really bad for saying it was hilarious. When all the rednecks insisted on doing their little exhaust competition, and Homeboy decides to do a neutral drop from like $6 grand in the Silverado and shears his drive shaft off.
We sheared 2 drive shafts that weekend.
Oh,
I didn't hear this
just
story.
rev it up. Don't try to do a neutral drop. One of the Silverados, he had the intake up through the hood of the stack. It was a cool looking truck. Everybody was excited to see it run. Everybody's revving up their trucks, and then we were walking by after that, and I was like, oh, he brought a spare drive shaft. He's smart. And then I looked, and the ears were just sheared off of it, and I was like, no, he broke his drive shaft.
He went and got a new drive shaft the next day and sheared that one too. That's from what I've heard. Yeah, that's his own fault. You know what?
I mean, apart from the fact that I had no plug in my front diff, I don't know where that plug went. I don't know if I drove it an hour and a half home from Buffalo at 80 miles an hour with no fluid in the front diff, or if it came out somewhere between getting it to the metal shop and getting it to the Gambler. But I had that fiasco, and then I drove it for the first time around the AIS, and actually it was to go over to see what was going on with the Cricket. And on my way back, I was looping back around, and I got a flashing check engine light. I lost the cylinder. I didn't even start gambling.
Yeah, and also Dodge. Why would you make that plug something so
it's
crappy?
It's just like
It's
pushed
like a-
in there.
yeah,
it's not threaded
it's like
or
a
anything.
plastic-
pushing
Yeah.
ones?
plastic push-in plug, and then
I have a spare though now.
Yeah, I feel bad for saying, but it's just kind of funny how many cars actually die Friday night before the thing gets going. But everyone's having fun the whole time through.
yeah.
Everyone's having a blast, and then Saturday morning they're like, well, I broke last night. What do I do?
Yeah, Saturday morning we all get up and there's dead cars all over the place in the
We
road.
still filled the infield there though.
Yeah.
That was a quarter mile side to side.
Saturday
It was
morning,
probably a good
we should
$200-300
call that the
with
car
the
show
cars.
because there's everybody there.
That was probably about $200-300 worth of cars in that quarter
Yeah.
mile loop
Yeah.
there.
Well, that's only because, well, everyone was coming in trying to do a hot lap before they pulled in for the driver's meeting. So we put CJ's Jeep that he bought the day
Yeah,
before.
on Sunday.
Yeah, or
No, that was Saturday.
Saturday.
It was
so
Saturday.
CJ's Jeep, the Cosworthless, Lauren's Elantra that got demoed yesterday, and my Toyota.
Oh, they finally killed that Elantra.
Yeah. He had his fun with it, and then he was like, I'm just going to demo it.
Oh, something's wrong with the front end. Dude, there's just a shitload of mud in there.
They demoed it. Apparently, they're going to demo it again because it got pushed into a corner, and he finally got it to run again, so they're going to go one more time.
Might as well.
Well, Saturday, I was going up to the driver's meeting, and last year in the fall, I know we went that back way that went through that fence. We didn't go.
That's how we went spring last year, too.
Yeah.
And I didn't see the post that you had made until I had already got onto the infield. I got onto the infield because the fence was open. I was like, this is weird. Only half the fence is open. I get over there and I see everybody's getting directed over there. I was like, oh. You were leaving when I was coming in too, I think too.
I was probably going to close that gate
Yeah.
at that time. Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, I wasn't supposed to go
the
there.
biggest difference is they're running races there now. We got to try to get
Yeah.
mud off of it, and we can't be messing up the track for their races.
Well,
so.
luckily I didn't really run the Dakota, so there wasn't any dirt on the tires.
Yeah,
So.
no, it was no big deal. We're just trying to do the best so that they don't. Cause it takes a lot of time for them to clean up.
You actually, during the tug of war, we pulled up on the other side from where you guys are filming with Super Poo and the Dakota with all the lights that we had running on, and we're sitting there, and then, like, we're sitting shouting and honking and whatnot, and then we hear everything go quiet, and then you hear over the thing go, "Turn your lights off! We're trying to film over here!"
I remember that.
I gotta fix that relay on that freaking light bar.
Yeah, it worked the first night when we did the mudding at AIS, and then the next morning it wouldn't turn back on.
Well, yeah, it was giving me problems after we went through all the mud pits
Yeah.
and stuff at AAS.
That 5-cylinder Dakota though, that thing, it's,
With
like
no
I said,
exhaust.
yeah, it sounds like it's got a big V8 in it, but it's
I can't imagine
Five
how that
turning
works.
on
I ran
five.
7 cylinders. The week before, I took the Gambler to the AS kind of show off. Well, I just got the exhaust on it, just got the front drive shaft in it. Go take it for a test drive. This thing is not running right. I'm like, get it back. I'm like, you know what? We're going for it. 7 cylinders all the way to AAS and back. That's a 30-mile drive.
Well, I stupidly, because of the issues we had with the tow rigs and stuff, I couldn't get the Dakota out to Cody to have the bumper done until like 2 weeks before the event. So he was already swamped for work. We couldn't finish. We didn't really finish it in time. So I ended up having to take it back the day before the event to do a bunch of work on it. And that's when I found out. I pulled it into my shop to put the front drive shaft in it, the junkyard one. I crawl underneath it, and that's when I found that the exhaust had completely rotted off. It was already booger welded once, but the booger weld had failed. So we're pretty much running manifold, and then it kind of the two banks go into like a collector, and then there's just a tiny bit of exhaust. That's my entire exhaust system.
Well,
that was
really
on my
capable when I
F-150.
got it. It had a cherry bomb booger welded on one side. The other side, they put a new cat on. Didn't even, just had it like stuffed in there, like wedged in there to the back, and then nothing else. Like everything was cut out. There was a bunch of exhaust in the bed, so I just started piecing the other pieces from the exhaust, make a crossover, and put the other cherry bomb on, and called it good. The thing is just like right in front of the rear axle.
I'll take the muffler out of my truck. It sounds too quiet.
The Toyota.
I mean, I pretty much needed earplugs almost the
Well,
whole weekend for my
Mine all it has is the cherry bombs on it. That's nothing compared to the exhaust manifold leak on it.
I say that thing actually sounds like a yard tractor right now. I just want to get it louder. I've gotten too used to it. I want to make it louder again.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed on how quiet a 7.3 is with no exhaust.
You just gotta
That's a
do a nice
turbo.
hood stack off of it.
Well, I did it with, it was literally open turbo, and it was like quiet.
Yeah.
It was like,
A turbo actually counts as a muffler.
well, yeah. I wanted a hood stack it, but apparently it's really complicated to do it on those, so I just did the cobbled together exhaust system. That actually fell apart in Frozen Nuts. That's why the stack was like that. the
Yeah, I
whole
was gonna
way.
say I noticed for a while the stack was leaning pretty good.
It was doing pretty good, and then, we didn't finish jerry rigging it in time, so. We will now, though, that the cap's coming off of it, so.
Yeah, you said you were doing last minute work on the Dakota's bumper. We're looking at it from the outside. It's like, oh, that's pretty good. And then we looked how it was mounted, and I was like, oh my god, don't use that winch. You're gonna rip the front of the truck off.
Well, we did.
Ironically,
barely
he did
capable
almost rip the front
bumper.
of the truck off with the
We
bumper.
bent- we bent that
Really
bumper.
Cable's bumper, the 4 a.m. I ripped the other one off. Didn't have the. I ended up breaking all the bolts off. I'm like, I gotta put something on this. It's a $10 trampoline I picked up. I got two in there, so I bent it up. It was just two pieces welded.
it
kinda
looks
complicated.
We
I
actually
gotta finish it. It's gonna be a full rally bumper. Bars underneath, skid plate.
Big old
Riley
stinger
lights.
on it.
They're probably not a great big stinger, just kind of
You,
wrap around for the
you
lights.
gotta do like the one he showed us, the penis stinger.
No,
That'd be hilarious.
but I am gonna do a big light bar on top and like the two spare tires in the back. And I cut the bed apart because that bed is.
that hole that the tracker pulled Super Poo out of. He was actually the first one that tried to pull Super Poo out, and he gave it a good yank, and then he gave it another yank, and we were like, something's up here, and we get
I
out,
was starting to
and
get.
that bumper was pointing at the ground.
Yeah, I was starting to get pissed off because the Dakota wasn't, for some reason, couldn't pull the Subaru out. So I got really pissed, and at the last time, I just freaking hammered it down.
The strap
pulled
came
it, and the
flying at
strap
the window,
came
and we were both
flying
like,
out.
"Oh God!" in the car.
And then Justin's, with Super Poo, he's like pissing himself laughing. He's like, "You gotta look at the bumper." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "It's bent." I look out. I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's bent."
The plates were all like completely folded out, and they luckily none of the bolts or anything ripped out. But
Yeah, I told Cody, I'm like, I have some R&D information for you. So I'm actually supposed to get that truck back this week. I'm actually kind of excited to see it. Now I'll actually be able to fix all the damage from the Gambler.
bring it to the cabin on Wednesday.
I think that's the most crap I've ever broken at a Gambler
Yeah.
before.
Well, I still really capable. I still got to patch the frame again.
Again.
Well, where I patched it's all great and holding, but a few more holes fell out, and the one spot I didn't get around to got a little bigger. So after I fix the rear end on it, that's the next project. Besides getting everything else finished on it.
Yeah, like for the, like I know when they had Dixie Cup and the Monte Carlo, did everybody just kind of like, whoever was running it, they registered it in their name? Is that kind of how it
Yeah, I
works?
pretty much just give it to them, and yeah, they
Give them the
register
title and the registration, and
Yeah.
they do the registration. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think that's probably what I'm gonna do with the Dakota. Then I'm gonna just make like I'm gonna have like an exhaust shop build a little bit of an exhaust on it, just so it's not completely, just so that you don't die from carbon.
That thing's so damn loud.
Maybe put a stack on it just for the hell of it or something.
It can't be as loud as Amber Alert. Well, I think that thing was falling off. The exhaust fell off of it. Well, here's what happened. The exhaust fell off it, and then Box with the Bumblebee Tuna S10 ran it over and flattened it. Went back and picked it up. They were sucking fumes for a while. They started strapping the doors open on that thing. So you got Amber Alert, no exhaust, doors strapped wide open, and people sitting in couches in the back of it. It's only got 2 seats in it, and they got 4 people in that van. Can't believe that thing didn't get pulled over.
Well, that's how Getty, when we were at Maine, it was getting so hot in there, and their back two windows where the dogs were, went down. So the dogs were fine, but the front two windows didn't go down, and they didn't have an AC. So we're riding 3 deep in this regular cab with the Trailblazer following us behind with both doors wide open, so they can actually get some circulation.
Yeah, we actually made a huge detour just to go to the local parts store, get some exhaust pipes, just to rig some exhaust so it came out outside of the cab. That just kept falling off the whole time, but after a while we started watching, I think, basic straight pipe at this point, 6-cylinder, just hammering on it. He's only got 2 gears, so he's redlining it the whole way.
They don't shoot in
We
their
were watching it one time in our back window, like, that thing's shooting flames out of it.
That's kind of what I want to do with the Toyotas, make it shoot flames.
Yeah.
Oh, I got the Dakota
Except
to
for when
pop
we're
a
in the
couple
woods.
times.
I got plans to do that for the Gambler 100.
I was gonna say my lawnmower shoots flames. Once that counterweight's on there, though, it's gonna hide the flames, so nobody will know that I'm about to set the yard on fire.
The Dakota also, if you have it in tow haul mode, the transmission shifts better, but it won't shift right in regular mode.
I'll say every time I
Sounds
test
about
drive
right.
a
I
customer's
did that.
vehicle, I kind of pick up with tow haul. I just put it in that.
Yeah, I actually did that with when I ran Barely Capable to AIS the week before. When I was running a center cylinder, I put it in tow mode. It seemed to run a little better at higher RPM, so that's what I did to make it there and back.
Yeah, so hopefully in this fall run I don't completely destroy the Dakota. But before then I plan on making it permanently 4-wheel drive, so it'll only have 4-wheel drive, may not have 4-low. I'm going to replace the front drive shaft, build some kind of exhaust for it, and then fix the light bar. That's about all it needs. Well, I might even get adventurous and fix the misfire.
Will that mean a trip to the junkyard to get some plugs?
Yeah, maybe. I've never dealt with spark plugs before though. That's the thing.
I know
I'm
you're
not-
used to them diesels.
Yeah, I'm a diesel guy. I don't know spark plugs very well.
Well, I'll tell you this, Barely Capable. When I got it, the second time I fired up after putting a new starter in it, almost I hear a brand new, what the hell is that?
Still just almost went
Come
down.
to find out, one of the spark plugs is loose. And so I put it in there and then I pull it back. When I actually pull it back out, I'm like, because it didn't seem to go in right. I pull it back out. There's no ground strap on that spark plug. So it's not even threaded in. It doesn't even have a ground strap. So I go and put an old one on my other truck in it. Still the one that didn't work. But the fact that was loose, I go through and tighten all of them. I found, I think 4 out of 8 weren't even torque. And then one of them has a cobbled together wires for the ignition coil. They replaced the plug end of that. And then it was still running at 10 cylinders, so I replaced the coil and put a new plug in the 1-cylinder. Still have 3 to go, but it's running good right now.
Don't question it.
My buddy almost thought he blew the engine in the Camry once because the field mice that we have on my property, I think they were the culprits for the reason why the injector wire was broken on cylinder 4, I think it was. It was completely not running right. We were looking at it, we're like, oh, that might be why it's not running right.
It could be worse. Could be like the newer, like 2011 era Chevy Malibus.
Mm-hmm.
My parents had one, and it started running like shit. Throwing injector codes. I put an injector in it. It fixed it when it wasn't idling, but when I was idling, it was still misfiring. So I get on Identifix and I'm looking at it. GM had a wire chafing issue. It was like, don't replace the injector, replace the wire harness. I was like, I'm not putting a harness in this pile of shit. Spliced in the new wires, changed the injector, ran halfway decent, they traded it in. I was like, good, I'm tired of dealing with this car. Wheel bearings, brakes all the time.
You should see the E30 that I got. This sat in the scrapyard. I saw it. I literally bought it almost to the day, a year after I first saw it come into the scrapyard. E30, 318IS, 91, M42 car. Finally decided, my buddy said, let's go buy that car and build a rally car out of it. So $300, we went and bought it. Get it home, come to find out, I tried jumping it when it was in the scrapyard off of my truck and almost fried my alternator because I get home, I found out why. Someone put the battery in there backwards.
Oh.
Wait, was that one of the ones with the reverse grounds in it? Where the positive was the
No,
ground?
they just...
I was like,
I
I've
thought
dealt
that
with-
was mostly British cars.
But they just had the battery in backwards, so...
There's a few BMWs that were like that.
I get home, put a battery in it, turn the key, the damn thing fires. It's running on 3 cylinders. So, go do a little more research. Figure, okay, I'll do the plugs on it.
More than 50%.
Put the plugs on. Look at the plugs. I'm like, okay, this one's completely dry. You got a bad injector. Throw an injector on it. Thing runs. They scratch because of a bad injector.
I love the stupidity of some people.
I know. It's like this thing's got roll bar, 5-point harnesses in it. Come to find out, it's got a $300 chip in it. I went to the ECU. It's like I gotta check this. I go look at the ECU. That's been opened. It's got a chip in it.
Yeah, that actually.
I'm like,
I think
this
you
thing's
just.
got an LSD in it. Low slip differential. I'm like,
I think you just shared that or something like that, or it came across my feed the other day.
Yeah,
one of
that-
your posts about like this thing's already chipped.
yeah, that's exactly it. That was just 3 years ago. That just popped up as a memory, and yeah, must be almost exactly 3 years ago. I found out that thing was chipped.
I think wasn't it some of the old? I think it was like the 60s or 70s Dodge trucks. Like, the driver's side had normal threaded for the lug nuts, but it was like right-handed thread for the passenger side.
I've heard of that before.
Yeah,
That's
it was like
kinda funky.
old Dodge trucks or something like that had it.
Yeah.
I think it might have even been like Fred Williams that said it or something. One of the old, like the Roadkill or Dirt Everyday guys or something.
Can't swap lug nut side to side.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, try finding a left-hand lug nut when you lose one.
So, what are you going back to the Gambler 100? Tell about your what you're trying to build up here for it.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Well, this came about almost a year ago when I pick up 3 lawnmowers and throw them on for like, what did I pay, like $250 for 3 lawnmowers and have them all on the bed of my car trailer. I sent a picture to my buddy, like, I got an itty bitty turbo. 3 years later, I have said itty bitty turbo. So it's been in the process of building a turbo lawnmower. And then, of course, Kevin, way back, it's must have been since spring, first Adirondack spring, when the Alabama Lambo had the shopping cart on the roof. Because let's do a shopping cart gambler. It's like, okay, let's build a shopping cart. Well, same buddy comes up with a shopping cart, so my plan is to build a turbo shopping cart.
Shopping cart.
Oh, that's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, I just bought oil feed and drain lines, so hopefully I can get that engine running soon and tweaked, and then I'll get the lawnmower actually rolling and driving.
Is it nice doing something too where you're not the one setting it up and organizing it, and you're just gonna be the guy coming around for the shit show?
It is. I mean, definitely. I had one of my favorite ones was Frozen Nuts because I finally got to just build the car and drive. I didn't even get to drive much. I think the only part I drove was up that one icy hill, and that's all I drove. But I had a blast. Really, just that's probably just showing the capabilities of a rear-wheel drive Volvo in unplowed, snowy roads. And we didn't even do half the stuff we were going to do. Like, we were going to put skis on it. We were going to lift it. Of course, lifting it would have meant tearing apart the whole rear end, which that particular one, the rear end on that Volvo is an independent rear suspension with a single leaf spring.
Oh,
Not 2 leaf springs.
Wow.
It is, we're looking at it is just such a nightmare to try
Is that
it.
the monoleaf that hooks to both sides and then?
Yep.
Yeah, because
Oh, it's like
So
the
that's
Corvette
that's
ones?
half the reason we decided
Yeah,
not
the
to try to lift it, because it
older
would be a
Corvettes,
nightmare to piece that back together.
Nick's 64 Triumph set up the same way. I was like, that's a weird suspension setup. I wouldn't want to mess with it.
Yeah, no, I would have hoped that was, if it was a solid axle, that thing would have been
Just
lifted,
pull it out,
no
put
problem.
4
You
9
can't-
inch in it.
I was gonna say you can't lift it like a normal leaf spring or just put blocks at the top of it.
You
Well-
probably could, but then everything else would be all out of whack. And
Well, now that
But
Volvo
gambler.
is the time machine, so we've just got plans to
The
make more time
DeLorean.
machine.
The DeLorean.
Oh, that's the DeLorean?
Yep,
Yes.
that's the DeLorean. Yep.
the DeLorean survived Frozen Nuts.
Yeah. So what I know with his plan is he's gonna do
Didn't he win the race?
What's that?
He won the races this year, didn't he?
Oh, it was Bucket Bucket that won the race.
Bucket
Oh.
But Talon actually raced that for the races.
The DeLorean?
Yep.
Dick.
But yeah, his plan is, at least 3 events, every one of the Back to the Futures, do that theme, add to it. We got some plans, the one side's Bastion, so we got some plans with that.
Which side was Bastion on that?
Passenger side.
So that's now the second Volvo in the Gambler that's had a passenger side smashed in.
Yeah, that was very interesting in Frozen Nuts because I had a nice about 2-inch gap between the door and floorboard, and I had cold air coming in. So I'm sitting here freezing. I'm mostly jeans and I had long johns on. Ed over here, and on the other hand, is all bundled up for winter. no gap in the door, and he's overheating. So me trying to stay warm, he's trying to stay cool.
You guys should have switched seats and been like, here we go.
That would have been nice. I would have gotten to drive more, but
Yeah.
it wasn't my car.
I at least had heat in my
But,
truck, but
I've told him we do have to hit a 4th movie theme on that one because the DeLorean does make a comeback in Ready Player One. So he's got a 4th
this is
movie,
true.
movie
Yes,
theme
it
he can
does.
do with
Yes,
that.
yes, it does. That was also a great movie.
It was.
I didn't actually go see that one.
I think
Christine also
I
makes
think it's
an
on
appearance in that.
Amazon right now, Prime or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought I saw it when I was on vacation. It was for like rent or free on one of the streaming services.
Good movie. That's another thing. It'd be awesome to see a lot more movie cars show up.
I wanted to do
Kit, General Lee,
like
Ghostbusters.
I could do Kit's methed out brother. I've got an '84 Camaro rotting away at my father-in-law's.
Well, I still have access to the other one. Like,
Don't tell me that. Although now that I know I can Vermont title that one, it might get done. I just gotta find a frame
Well,
for it.
I could do that. 'Cause I could get that one for free if I wanted to. He only wants.
I got a
$200 for it.
'78 F-250 regular cab.
my
frame.
original plan was to build the pilot,
Could make
and
it
I was gonna
work.
call it the Millennium Fuck Can. But then I looking at the Millennium Falcon. I was just thinking about it, and I was like, that's just gonna be nothing but shit falling off the sides of that thing on every damn trail we
Exactly.
hit. So I was like, I don't want to be raining and polluting the trails
Just-
from all these
Just
random
raining parts.
Well,
just random
see,
crap falling
just
off
have
the
your buddy
side.
follow, and he picks
Yeah,
it
I
up
was
as
gonna
you
say,
go. That's
The Gamblance
He can-
had the exact opposite thoughts
He-
of you because and I still remember picking up pieces of his side skirts down the Jerusalem Hill.
it's bonus points for cleaning up after other gamblers if
Yeah.
cars fall off.
Yeah, but he wouldn't be able to keep up because there'd be like 2,000 pieces just randomly falling off every time I hit a bump.
Van
what?
skipping.
But I got a thought. I got an S10 coming that's pretty much only good for the frame and drivetrain.
Cornell S10.
Yeah.
Regular cab short bed or what?
No, extended cab long are short beds. So I know it
Okay.
needs to be extended.
No, it might not have to.
It's about 10 inches different
No,
wheelbase.
I was gonna say that.
But I have plans. I might actually stretch that Camaro and make it into a station
Oh,
Oh,
God.
man.
Yes.
wagon.
That'd be an interesting mullet to see.
the other thought we had.
What you could do,
Yeah.
find like a celebrity, like a Chevy Celebrity or Citation wagon, cut it off, and then put that on the Camaro. There's your station wagon Camaro.
We come up with something, but the other thought we've had was get a little bit newer Dodge Caravan body, keep the S10 front end,
Yeah.
paint yellow and Magic School Bus theme.
I could see it, yeah.
Have you seen that older wood? There's like a white wood panel Caravan rolling around Canandaigua that has a light bar
Yes,
in front. Have
I
you seen
I
that
worked
thing?
on that the other day. There is no rust on
I
that
saw it
van.
today and I was drooling over it. And my fiance was like, "What are you looking at?" And I was like, "This wood panel van."
It's an
I was
old
like, "There
one
is
that-
no rust on here. That
Yeah.
white paint is spotless." I was
It's
like,
funny,
"I
'cause
want this thing so
when
bad."
When I was working on it, I was like, where the hell's the switch for his light bar? And I hit the high beams, and it's actually wired into the high beams. I was like, that is
Yeah.
awesome.
There's
Put some effort into that.
there was a guy. I was
It's
out.
mint. I love that thing.
I was out at my buddy's house. He's about a half an hour from Youngstown, Ohio, and they pretty much get away with just about everything out there. There was a Prius that was coming out of Home Depot with either a 40 or 50-inch light bar across the roof of it. It was an older one too. I was like, that is just awesome.
My buddy had a Prius. It was on its last leg. He was actually borrowing from his parents. Like, when it died, I told him, like, you really gotta get that Prius because I want to diesel swap that thing. Lift it and
Someone say
diesel swap.
diesel?
Someone
Yeah.
beat you to it. 'Cause
Huh?
there is a 4BT
Oh my,
Prius.
that thing is.
Yeah,
I saw the video of it.
Still,
I was like,
for
it's
a-
just
for
a
a
Prius.
gambler?
When they popped the hood, and I was like, oh,
For a gambler,
that'd be
just
awesome.
the most ironic thing. Diesel swap a Prius. Just
or
rolls in
You're
your
actually
thing.
helping the
an
environment.
if you can find like an electric car or a smart car and put a diesel into there, that'd be a little.
There's no room in a smart car.
Oh, there's
Oh, you can
there's
make
a
room.
way.
Yeah, there's
Well,
a way.
that's like the Scion IQ. I hate working on them.
Put like a
I
two-cylinder.
have to leave it
put
neutral and
two-cylinder-
adjust it 12 times to get the lift arms under
Put
it.
two-cylinder Kubota in that smart car.
Yeah, I guess.
I really want to find an old mail truck and gamble that. Like the Grumman LLVs.
Yeah.
They're based off of S10s, so they can't be that hard.
It's literally
to...
an S10 frame that they shortened. Because I, unfortunately, had to sit through the entire backstory of them. Because when they first started making them, they just shortened the S10 frame and they were chewing the front ends up. So they got a hold of Moog chassis parts and specifically had parts made for them. And now they work fine. But the engines are either...
Iron Dukes.
Yeah, most of them are Iron Dukes. Because for a while we had the contract with Farmington to get all the mail trucks. Half of them that came in wouldn't start. Hey, guess what? You blew that Iron Duke up. Ooh, okay, we'll go find them. I don't know. We had 4 or 5 of them come in. You'd hit the starter and you just hear everything cranking except for the head. Like, it was just no compression, nothing. It's like,
I've seen my mailman do
I
some
thought
crazy shit with
Iron
mail
Dukes
trucks.
were pretty much indestructible.
I
are.
I've had the privilege of swapping an Iron Duke that got blown up once.
I'll say that.
That was an interesting experience.
The Derby car I'm supposed to run in a couple weeks has an Iron Duke.
Oh,
I gotta change the throttle body on it because it's all fucked up. That should be interesting because, 4-cylinder. Yay, tiny car. It's actually that little 2-door red one I posted.
The Lumina.
Yeah, it was supposed to get run yesterday,
Yeah.
but the throttle body's all messed up.
Did that
They're
have an
like,
Iron Duke in it?
they were like, we don't know if it needs an ECU or a throttle body or what, so I'm going to tinker with it this week, and if I can get it running, we're going to build it, and I'm going to send it over here at Land of Legends.
At the fair?
Yeah.
You're going to run the fair derby this year? I'll be there cheering for you in the grandstands.
I'm going to try. If I can get the car ready, I'm going to bring it.
That guy last year, watching that neon, like, I don't remember what the other car was that hit him, but that guy in that neon was just like, I want to go full ass and back in reverse. And when they hit, the back of that car ended up in his front seat, and the next thing we know, Mercy Flight's landing.
I know both the parties involved. The guy that hit him feels bad about it.
Yeah.
The guy that got hit has a good sense of humor and was like, so you want to put paralyzer on your door wraps now? And he was like, dude, I have enough people after me because of what happened.
He was in the hospital for a while, too, wasn't he? Like a broken back?
It was like 2 months. Yeah, he broke his spine.
Yeah.
Holy
But
shit.
Yeah, it was a
they're
gnarly,
still
it was
friends.
a gnarly crash.
The dude that hit him was there every single day in the hospital visiting with him. Just to kind of keep tabs on everything, make sure nothing was going bad. But that neon...
That whole back half of that car was in his front seat, basically. It was...
actually, the entire floorboards, the entire back frame, everything was rotted completely out. No seat bar, nothing.
Oh, so he didn't really prep the car for Derby. He just ran a car and went and sent it. And
The car that hit him was decently built. The bumper actually hit the back of his seat. Oof. Like, it caved in that far. I went over and took pictures of it before.
I watched it happen, and
Yeah.
I
I watched it from the pits,
they
and I was
like
like, that was a
they
good hit.
became one. Yeah.
Oh, wait, he's stuck in there. That's not good.
Yeah, it was. We saw the hit, and then the other guy kind of drove away, and then
He backed
didn't
out
see
of it,
him-
and then the officials like, stop,
yeah, you
stop,
didn't
something
like
ain't
it
good
was
here.
still going for a little bit, and then you didn't see him moving in the car, and then everyone in the grandstands just stood up, and they were all like trying to see what was going on, and then they were all. And then that's when the EMTs and everyone came flying into the field, and yeah, they shut it down. It was like I think it was like an hour before they restarted up.
It was...
Yeah.
Luckily,
never
Mercy
good.
Flight's only 10 minutes away from Canandaigua,
Watching
so
shit like that makes you...
put a
almost
roll
makes
bar
you
in
not
your
want
car.
to get back in the car, but then you're like, well, you have a good cage, it shouldn't move.
Yeah.
Yeah, safety's never something to skimp on.
Yeah, every car we run, we do seat bar, usually bars up to the dash bar, or if we put a different dash bar in, it's just a big enclosed, and then halo, tank protector.
Mm.
Like, everything we do is just safety. But a lot of people still want to do the old chain and bang, knock the windows out, take the airbags out, and let's see what it can do.
Yeah, my buddy, like my best friend, he's actually going to be coming up to the Fall Gambler with me. He's been talking about it, and he's like, oh, I'm just going to buy a car and send it. And I was like,
No.
dude, don't do that. I was like, you got to reinforce it. You can't just buy a car and send it.
Bare
They're not
minimum.
built to crash like that.
Bare minimum, just put a seat bar in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about putting a like a full cage in my 7.3 when I rebuild it, just because because the whole interior is gonna be gutted, so
Yeah.
Might as
there's
well.
no
No,
point.
I always had plans like at least a roll bar on the BMW, and same with pretty much all of anything. Even Rallycross, I want to get cages, roll bars in them.
I'm half tempted for the Fall Gambler. If I don't bring the Toyota, just kind of take one of the Derby cars, build it all up for the Derby, have the full Derby cage and big bumper on the front, and just drive that around.
Vermont register it, and then
A lot of them that we get have clean titles, but like, I just think it'd be funny seeing a carbureted Lumina with stacks just cruising down one of the main
Well,
roads.
like I said
It's
to
not
you-
on this road legal yet.
Like I said
How
to
would
you
you
though,
like-
I think it'd be fun too to build up a couple cars so that like we could like crash and bash each other
Get
while
back
we're
to
running the
base camp,
gambler.
just
Yeah,
T-bone
just like
someone, be like,
just
oh,
like,
See, I
like,
would
oh,
do-
there's Tommy, whack, and
See, I would do that with the Dakota. I don't really give a shit about that thing. I mean, that's how we are with the Camry. When my buddy sometimes.
is he still building it? The Camry up? Is he still
I'm
planning on it?
yeah, I'm gonna be building it. I get it, getting it out of a trade deal. It pretty much is mine at this point. But what we used to do is one time we had the Camry. We went to pick up his Yukon or something, and he had a big drop hitch on it. So the entire time home, it was whenever he got to a stoplight, I didn't stop the Camry until it was into his hitch. So he'd be stopped, and then you just, bam. Hi.
sorry, didn't feel like hitting the brakes.
you were easier to stop than the brakes were.
That's how I stop at my driveway. I just pull it up, and then when it stops against the boat tongue, that's when I know it's far enough in the driveway.
Speaking of pulling the driveway, when I had the old, I had a hydraulic e-brake in that thing. Yeah, that was a daily occurrence where I just went into my driveway sideways.
Yeah.
Pulled my e-brake. Gravel road, gravel driveway.
That's how I come into my shop. My shop's got a gravel parking lot, and I turn the Camry around, and the truck turn around, and I just hammer it down and just pull the e-brake and just slide it across the freaking parking lot.
My goal is to see how sideways I can get it going into my driveway.
There's no such thing as two sideways unless you're
Oh, no.
backwards.
No,
Well, I've had that thing on a
I-
dirt. I've had that thing on a dirt track right sideways through turns 3 and 4, just all the way down the throttle. That car was amazing.
Apparently, Isaiah took the Super Poo he had his Civic, and he was bringing Justin home, and he was like, "Watch this!" Rips the e-brake, ends up in the ditch.
Oh,
Like ass into the ditch. Just shit.
well,
Those guys are nuts.
my buddy said he was waiting for the day that he had either a state trooper or like Ontario County's finest behind him, because my driveway is surrounded by 2 like drainage ditches, but they're just shallow enough you could drive the Camry through it and get it onto my field. He's waiting for the day there's a cop behind him and just rips it through the ditch and gets into the field. I'm like, you're gonna get me arrested or something.
Just don't get arrested on my property. That's a lot of paperwork.
I've already had enough cops at the drive on my property,
I wonder why.
ignoring the minivan carcass in my field.
Mm.
The tannerite.
Tannerite.
That was heard 3 counties over.
Your house is, I think it was 13 miles from my house.
Yeah, and I heard
And you heard it.
I was walking inside and heard. Thought
I
nothing
heard
of
it.
it.
I heard it at my house.
Thought nothing of it. I go inside. The local community has a Facebook page. Everyone's losing their mind.
Yeah,
broke-
it was all over.
Basically broke the
There were
Facebook
people.
page.
There were people on the Greece Community Neighborhood Watch page posting about it, and that's like Greece is like over 20
Wait,
miles
is that the
away.
thing I saw recently about someone doing that?
No, this was
Last year?
St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
This year. We had the one thread about it on Canandaigua 2020 had about 300 comments about
Wait,
it.
because I saw something. I don't know if it was old or
Everyone
new,
was
but
like,
about
what
someone like.
happened?
What
Everybody,
was this big
There's
boom?
a-
And it's like someone put off
everybody
like 50
check
pounds
on
of
your
tanner.
page.
Everybody check on your people. Something just happened.
Yeah, something blew up. Everyone's like terrorists and freaking out.
And
And
Alec
nope.
messages me. It might have been me. I was like, what? And then he sends me a picture of this minivan just burning, and I was like,
Oh,
okay, I got it now.
That minivan would have been a good gambler if it didn't destroy the radiator and that and completely cave in the front end.
That's nothing. You put a different radiator on the roof and call it good.
Yeah.
We also ended up shooting out all the windows, so.
You only need a windshield.
Yeah, this is true.
Or goggles.
Yeah.
Would have been good air conditioning.
That was also before I knew about the gambler, so. Knew about the local one, at least. I had general grapplers on the front of it, which I actually still have. They fit on the Camry.
All right.
Well, that'll be interesting.
Oh, I still have a set for the Grand Am that'll fit. It came off of Jason's Buick. Bright blue rims. I think
Nice.
gotta be Goodyear type truck tires. They gotta be almost 31. So there might be a little bit of modification, but I've thought about putting them on the Grand Am just for rallycross even.
I was gonna see if 31s would fit on that Camry. I don't know if it. I don't.
You might have to lift it a bit.
Well, I was gonna lift it.
I've already looked. There's gonna be a little bit of suspension modifications, a little bit of fender modifications, and some wheel spacers required to get those on that car.
Or just take the fenders off.
That's what I was just thinking. Just doing them on the front.
Yeah.
Just take the fenders off and just do big tires up front.
You might have to pound the inner fenders in a little bit.
Or just
Turn.
We should bring the Cavalier to the fall run and run the races with the Cavalier this year.
I mean, the 35s
Well,
on
I
that
get it
two-wheel
built. I
drive
probably will
truck,
run the
I
regular
don't have
races
full
like
lock.
that.
Because it
I'm not
rubs
too
so bad
busy.
on the frame.
Be the win the races that you host.
Yeah, dude, that's not rigged.
I gotta bring the I ran really capable this spring, and that was kind of just on a whim. Like, you guys riding my truck? I'll run my truck. But no, I would like to have the BMW because the BMW will move out on that track.
That might actually be a good idea. Just run the big 31s up front on the Camry, and then just put the general grapplers on the back tires.
Yeah, you don't need anything on the back. You're just dragging the rear end anyway.
Yeah.
Because the problem is right now we
Throw donuts on the rear end.
well I already have the two grapplers, so
Yeah. Well, the thing is, donuts drag easy.
yeah, that's true.
Even when they're flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Well,
sure.
skids on skid racing.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to run that in the fall or not, because I want to actually make sure that it survives, because I actually kind of want to do it right.
I mean, you got the Dakota. Just run the Dakota
Yeah.
again.
I would like to get my Jeep going for an event. That would be nice to have the Jeep, but
You got to pick up that the diesel Golf from Nick
Yeah,
so you can swap the diesel.
yeah, I still need to get the DDI for that.
Yeah.
Gonna be one of those Volkswagen guys. I know nothing about Volkswagens, but it's a diesel, so it should be.
Yeah, it can't be that hard.
That's like me. I know Quad 4s, but yet I know Quad 4s. I know F-150s. I still have 3 BMWs, and I still know very little about them.
It's a diesel, so you just need turbo injectors, head stud, done.
Don't forget the head studs. Especially if it's a Ford.
I put the 625s in my 6.0, even though it's a mostly stock truck. Just like I might as well do it right the first time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I might even put them on my 7.3.
So Nick said if he's on his way up.
He
Yeah,
said
he just- he
was,
said he
but
was
it
in
sounded like he's
Gorham last.
Okay, so he's only like, how long ago was that? Like half an hour.
No, I don't even think it was that long ago.
About 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he should be just about to the driveway. Because I can get to Stanley.
Yeah, that
which
was at
is
8:59.
the next town over from Gorham in about 5 minutes, so.
Oh yeah, Stan. Okay, yeah.
Did he actually say he was going to be stopping here?
It sounded like he.
Yeah,
might be.
I mean, it sounds like he did. He's like, y'all probably left already, but that's fine. I can't really stay, but we're gonna get him to come in anyway.
Tell him, make sure he knows he's going to be here for a few minutes.
Yeah, I told him.
It was
sorry,
funny.
I'm still there.
I was
Oh,
like,
yeah,
we
you
aren't
did.
going to be filming for over 2 hours tonight. We're at an hour 50.
All right.
Oh yeah.
But we are at an hour 50.
Yes.
It's not like the last time I was on, the last two times when we did
Oh.
the freaking 2 reshoots. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah, because you two were here.
I did 2 hour driving. I had to come down twice to get one filming done.
I mean, for you it wasn't that bad, but yeah, for you had to come
Well, at
down.
least those times, I think both times I hit Wilberts on the way through. This
Yeah.
time I didn't. But, so just straight 4 hours of driving to film.
I think Talon and Kat had like a 3-hour drive up.
Yeah, but they also
How?
like they
They're
basically
from
like
Binghamton.
Binghamton's not 3 hours from here.
well no,
No,
they
that's like 3
basically
hours
left
from me.
here and then after they left here they basically went down the East Coast and they
Yeah.
basically just went on a random driving vacation and just
They
stopped
pulled in.
everywhere.
I'll
Yeah.
be right back.
Because where my family's from in Carbondale, PA, that's only like 3 hours in itself.
Yeah.
So they're an hour
It's
from
also
Binghamton.
Talon, so they probably broke down and didn't say anything.
Well,
Well, he had his-
he
they
probably
also
found like a lake or something to
They
bury
also
it in.
stopped and went like fishing 8 different times.
Yeah.
And
Wow,
stopped at a
yeah.
winery and all that.
I was actually talking to him yesterday while I was out on the stream. He's another one. Like, I'm dead set on fishing that pond at AIS this year. I guarantee
pond?
there's pike in that water around. Like when you're heading down the dirt road.
You talking
like,
Bullfrog Pond?
I don't know what pond it's called, but I guarantee there's pike or bass in that water. I mean, looking at it, I was
That's-
drooling over it.
Someone needs to bring it.
It's a
like,
swamp turned into a pond, and unless someone stocked it, there's no fish in there.
I'm gonna find out. That's for damn sure.
Someone needs to bring an inner tube, and when we go through mud holes, just get pulled across the inner tube.
They actually, I just found out. I'll probably check with Suck in the Muck if we can do it, but they actually have a man-made pool now, and they search for Suck in the Muck events. You actually swimming in it and tubing on it. Yeah.
Must wear a helmet.
Yeah, something tells me the bunch of guys that we are with gamblers, we shouldn't be messing around with like water and watercraft.
Well, that
Yeah, probably not.
the other spot I want to try to fish is that dam that you had, that dam checkpoint that you had.
Oh, that
So-
place was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
gorgeous up
When
there.
I went through there, I was like, this won't take much just to break that down and wash out this road.
Yeah, and then Justin, he got out of Super Poo and he was covered in mud. He like went down and was like splashing the water all over his face. He was like, this is probably like my most
that
favorite
dam was,
experience of the
that dam was
gambler.
what, 3 feet above the road. It was all water, the whole pond next
Yeah.
to the road.
Yeah.
Like literally, you're driving here. Here's a 3-foot dam, and it's all water.
Yeah, there was a couple of those roads where you're only as wide as that road was,
Oh yeah.
and it was awesome. I love going through. Those are like some of my favorite roads to drive down. Is where no matter what side of the car you look out, there's water and like instant sinking.
Yeah, actually the back half of the death track where the Bronco burned down in Maine, there's like a beaver dam all along the road, and like if it went, I don't know if it's a beaver dam or if it was something that the town built or something, but it's actually keeping the water from washing out the road.
Yeah.
Because you drive past it and there's just like a dam and then there's just water, and there's actually one spot where it broke through and it's all across the road. There's also then it goes down. There's like a second road to go out to the main road, and there's a big like a bunch of waterfalls coming off the mountains, and the water is like crystal clear coming off the mountains. It's all like runoff.
I don't think weren't there were some waterfalls on the run. We didn't get to those though.
Yeah, I
don't
want to say
think.
there are at least 4 that I can
Well,
think
there was the one that was at the end of that one road where we crossed that river, where only like me and a couple other people crossed that river. Well, if you went up past where those guys were broken down, I think the waterfall was just past that. But it was so bug infested up there, and they were working on the car, so it really wasn't worth it walking up there.
Yeah, that was the one I think with the cav.
That's when we fixed the Super Poo the first time.
Yeah,
with the logs.
that's when the cav. That's that was that Cavalier. That's what actually was broken down in the woods. They said it like something just ripped off or something like that.
And that's when I figured out that my Dakota almost didn't start, and I left it running for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, he basically left it on.
I think maybe that there's like water was getting into maybe like the ignition coils or something, and that's what was causing it. Because it was only doing it. It only did it after we went through that water crossing.
I'm kind of worried about the pilot just because everything online for the year, they're saying it's only got 11 inches of water depth clearance. So I got to figure out how the hell I'm going to waterproof this thing.
Very carefully.
11 inches, that's nothing.
Or 18. I don't know why I said 11. 18.
The ground clearance on the BMW was only 6 inches.
It's a lot of electrical, and I want to make sure it can handle shit, but I also don't want it to die in the middle of a water hole.
What you do is you take all your plugs and you electrical grease them all.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about doing.
That's what you start with, and then you get
Talon and
ECO
just
mounted
spray
high.
foam the fuck out of everything.
What is it called? Flex Seal.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Oh, there's some stuff now too. You like, it's like a water repellent. You just spray your whole ECU with it, and it'll just repel the water off of it.
When I couldn't get the intake, the snorkel built on the Dakota.
We cut a hole in the fucking top of the hood, like up against the windshield basically, and then they're all like cutting this hole out, and then he closes it, and I come over and I was like, that's not gonna work, bud. There's all this in the way too.
So
like,
I just
there's
ended up
big hole
flex sealing the pipe that was on there,
Yeah.
the stock or intake for it anyways.
Yeah.
Like it was the what was it? If it was like the vent, your defroster vent, that it just kept closing
Well,
out. I was like, we're gonna have to take all that out
I
too.
had the brilliant idea of putting a light bar on the hood of it before thinking about a snorkel or anything. So that's kind of why.
Yeah.
If the light bar wasn't there, it wouldn't have been as big of a deal. But
For most of the gamblers, the snorkel is it's purely aesthetic, because not a lot of the guys actually go through
if you're
those
Crystal
water.
Bell, you need it.
Yeah, not a lot of the guys go through the water hole, like those deep over the hood water
Talent.
holes. Yeah. His problem was the mud got to the starter and underneath and just clogged everything
Well, his
up.
problem is the mud was he was in the hole, and I found this video that for some reason didn't post. So I tagged him in, but basically he went in that water, he was in nose down, water up to his windshield. His feet was covered with water. His ECU was underwater. Everything was underwater and mud.
So
And
don't
this-
waterproof like
Yeah,
Talon.
this video
It
was
doesn't
just,
work.
just of that, just that. There's some other car doing the exact same thing, going into a hole and just burying
Buried.
Well,
it
in
in
this
water.
in the fall last year, Crystal Bell, when they got out of the one mud hole, there was probably about that much water in the floorboards, and everything inside of that was completely soaked. Like they had like snacks and stuff that was all soaked.
Oh, yeah,
Did you see the video? I think Matt Leach took it of Ron Burgundy when they came out of the water hole. Open the doors and just water just rushing out of it.
That was the night actually when I was at camp, and I saw them walking, and I was like, I had all those hot dogs and all those burgers that like for some reason I'm cooking them, and everyone left camp, so I was like, hey, you want some food? And they were like, thank you. They're like, all our food got ruined. We left it on the floor.
So they haven't learned from the first time it happened, is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
it just happened again at this last one. They ruined all their food again at this one.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, lots of food. And then I ended up leaving, like, I had like 4 hot dogs left that I left on the grill all night, and they like didn't burn. I went back I went the next morning and opened it, and they were like basically like charcoal hot dogs. They were still look like hot dogs, but they were just charcoal.
Yeah, I'd like to bring a better grill setup.
Oh man, I tried cooking bacon and eggs Sunday morning, and Sunday mornings when we had that wind coming through, so I was fighting keeping my grill lit, and then I burned the fuck out of that bacon.
You burnt everything
Yeah.
when you were trying to cook.
I wish I
Yeah,
had time
it
to even
didn't
worry
work.
about food at the Gambler. The last one, I pretty much relied on a few people and a few good friends providing with food. Ed DeMoss mainly.
Was it-
Cooked for me all weekend.
The nice thing about being out with Eric and that whole group,
That grill he had
Eric
was
is a
awesome.
fantastic cook.
Eric,
Yeah.
we hung with
And
him
he always
too.
makes enough to just kind of hand it out for people.
Yep, frozen nuts. We hung with him. Great breakfast.
Yeah, he's the one who
Yeah,
saved my
Saturday
breakfast that
morning, I
morning.
get down there, he was like, I got breakfast cooking on the stove and there's coffee.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Yo!
Next year,
Oh.
What's up?
you
What's
all
up?
ought to
What's
see
up?
the fucking mini bike.
Next
he
year,
just
last
unloaded.
minute, like he always walks in.
Yeah.
What's
What's up, Alec?
What's up, bud?
Tommy?
So let's tell us about this fancy new piece that you just picked up.
This fancy piece I've had since '99, I think, and it's an old school mini bike, and I think it's an American Flyer 400 series. I don't know. I just assumed that it was a Sears bike from way back in the day, and I got it in a box of parts one Christmas, and fucking me and a friend threw it back together and used it when we were in middle school. And oh god, I think we had that, and we had this Yamaha 80. I don't think it was a 100, but we had this Yamaha that we would go down to the river in West Elmira, rip up and down the trails with it, walk it back home. But
When it ran out of gas.
yeah, when it ran when parked 20 years ago. But it's, I don't know, it's just been forgotten about since I turned 13, 14 thereabouts, because I started really shooting up and I was too big for it, and I was like, oh, I was a stupid kid, like, oh, piece of crap, like, you know, looking for a car, like, I don't want a bike. And then, like, Gambler thing comes up, and I wanted to cut up my car and put it, you know, make it into a truck and then put it into the bed and shit. That never happened. Thank God.
Yeah, when you're talking about UT and the Volvo.
Yeah, thank God I didn't cut that car in half, because it definitely would have broken half this last run up in the Adirondacks.
Yeah, the roof is what held that together.
The roof is seriously what held that together. And then, then this Gambler 100 thing I hear about, and I was like, oh, I wish I had something to put in this. And I was like, wait a minute, I do. I forgot about this all these years.
It's sitting for 20 years, but you got something.
Yep, I got something. Yeah, the gas tank's held on by duct tape and string, and
Sounds right.
you've got a spark plug right on the top with one of the exposed spark plug wires that looks like it's like from a fucking Ford Model T. And Tires have been flat. Clutch might be roasted on it. We'll figure that out after we put some gas in it and fire it up at some other time. But the forks are a little bit rusty in the front, so I don't know if they'll just go shooting out if I hit a big enough bump or something. But I saw that same friend. His name's Devin. Saw that same friend before I was leaving town, and I was like, dude, look what I got. And he was like, holy shit, have not seen that in so many years. And he was telling me, he's like, you remember hitting bumps, like the front shocks would move forward and backwards? I was like, not until you just said that.
Glad you reminded me.
Yeah, glad you reminded me about that. So that'll be something to look out for and take care of.
I feel like
on this trip.
I feel like this Gambler 100 is gonna be worse but better. If you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, there's gonna
Yeah.
be so much more broken parts and just shit going on. But it's nice though because it's in a circle. So if you break down and you get left behind, everyone's just gonna come back up behind you at some point.
You'll
Yeah,
go
you'll
from the
see
back of the
you'll
pack to the
see-
front of the pack.
Yeah.
You'll see 5 people coming with running double on mini bikes because they broke down.
Mhm.
And me getting towed in a trailer.
Guaranteed I will be the slowest one there.
Oh, bullshit.
I don't know.
I might have you with that mower. That thing doesn't get out of its own way.
I'm hoping to be the fastest one there, but I don't know how long that motor will last.
You're
I
gonna be
really
like,
hope someone buys that Kawasaki street bike trike that's been getting shared into the group.
Oh,
I want to see that.
Well, while we were sitting here, I figured out how I'm gonna put that front end on that mower too. So
Oh jeez.
yeah, he's gonna
that's
have.
gonna be a
Oh,
much
yeah,
better
that
ride
one.
over the bumps.
I still gotta figure out how I'm stretching those mountain bike tires onto the back of those freaking OCC bikes.
OCC bikes?
Yeah, they're like it's kind of like what his frame he's got out back
Those
there.
like those chopper style bicycles.
Oh, yeah.
I've got 2 of them with like power washer motors or something. My buddy and I built when we were kids, and
Nice.
I was like, "You still got those?" He's like, "Yeah, I do." I'm like, "Let's get them running. I got a use for them." I'm like, "Give me the tire size. I need to find some tires for them."
Those things are almost motorcycle tires on the backs of them.
They're a 20-inch rim and they're 4 3/4 inches wide, I think it was. And in the one I found, the mountain bike tires I found are 20-inch rim, but they're 4 1/4. So we only got to stretch like half an inch
That's
on there.
Only
I'm just
half an
thinking,
inch on a
There's
tire
a nice
that's that
V-tread
wide,
sitting right
not
over
much
there.
of a
They're about the
stretch.
right size.
Stance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah,
laughing
just find
at
some of those
before.
V-treads like he's got out there.
I
Don't
bought
worry about
I
it.
bought 2 spares though, so I got spares for the bikes.
Okay.
I got no spares.
I
Yeah.
don't have spares.
I have one V-tread. I don't have a match for it. I got random
What size?
random lawnmower tires. I what sample you got in your mower? Picked it up cheap at Syracuse National.
20
So-
by 10, 8.
Something like that, yeah.
So, are we doing that like actual laps then? Because I think it was only a mile. Like it was like
It's
a
like
mile
a giant
long.
mile loop.
Yeah.
So we're doing actual laps then. It's actually easy enough that we could do.
Well,
He said he wants to
Yeah.
put trail cams out there to get different parts of it. I was like, we're just gonna get the same pictures, but progressively more drunk as first time going by. Yeah.
Oh, don't tell me-
fifth
don't
time
tell me
going
you're doing
by.
this.
Oh.
Don't tell me we're doing this where we drink a beer every lap. They are.
Oh,
Actually,
geez.
It's gonna be a few
actually, you know
minutes.
what?
Don't say
I'm gonna
that.
run that. I'm gonna run that by him tonight.
Tommy's gonna have a cooler in the trailer.
Oh
with
yeah,
him
I'm gonna have a
chucking beers
cooler.
to everybody.
My plan is to in the trailer too. Like I'm gonna bring a fuckload of batteries with like my big ass stereo and just like bump some tunes and whatnot.
You won't hear it over that thing. When that goes wide open, you don't hear anything.
I have to find that old. I
Now you
have
just
to
gave
find
him a
that
goal.
old.
He's got to be able to hear it over that thing, and neither of you will be able to hear by the end of it.
No.
I have to find that old school open face race helmet though and paint it with like Evil Knievel. It's just gonna look so funny with me sitting in that seat in that trailer with you pulling me.
It's probably gonna be that real nice Avalon seat, the leather one.
Oh yeah,
I can
that's
just-
the one I was planning on, the leather
I
one.
can just see every 100 yards you're going so fast that trailer's on its side.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's gonna have a pretty
Yeah.
high center of gravity. Tommy's gonna be like, "This is great."
That's why I say you're
This
gonna need
is
that.
not
You're gonna need that
great.
roll bar. 'Cause at some point he's gonna be upside down, dragging. him along
I was
on that
making
roll bar.
Jackass videos before there was Jackass. I am prepared to jump, tuck, and roll.
You need to do.
If
you
the
need to
hitch
take
breaks,
the
you're
axle
towing it back yourself.
like this, so you get that stance.
I'm not stancing a mower.
Just a trailer. You don't get a stance
Oh.
mower.
No, because that's my good trailer.
Oh, true.
Because I've got the old school one holding my chimney pipe.
I just thought
Oh,
that.
true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I saw that. The
Or-
trailer holding the fireplace chimney up.
Or
with the
we
wood
could have both trailers behind the mower.
Oh,
make a
God.
snake like a train.
Just be driving along with the beer train.
Yeah.
Just get a bunch of barrels and just a train of them behind the mower.
You almost need to paint it silver now and call it the Silver Bullet.
Yeah, big barrel painted silver.
Get
Coors
sponsored
on
by
the
Coors
side.
Light. If the mountains are blue.
We'll take blue 55-gallon drums, make little carts for them like they do for the little kiddie trains, and
Yeah.
each one painted like a different beer.
There you go.
This one's PBR, this one's Labatt, this one's Silver Bullet.
Should the condition of the cart be based on the type of
Well,
beer it's
you got a
after?
new bill to finish.
Well, the
now.
Labatt one wouldn't have the PBR one would be missing the wheels, just be dragging behind it.
It'd be a flood.
Labatt would just be full of maple syrup.
Thanks again, Scott, for going through and actually making this happen so far. It's
You do have to come on the podcast before then and kind of give out a little more information.
Yeah.
yeah, everything's kind of in the dark right now. We're all confused, but it's going to be exciting.
The real MVP right there.
Yeah.
You know what I need
Oh,
to
Captain, my Captain.
You know what I need to do with my two 100 ride the bikes? Should bring the 44-foot trailer and just put the two bikes on it.
The
Have
gooseneck.
them 15 foot apart.
Yeah.
Run a
Trailer.
gooseneck trailer with
With
the
the
two
big
bikes
trailer.
on it.
We actually
and you bring your bumper.
we actually want to
Yeah,
go to Walmart and get one
bring
of those
the
little
bumper.
dump trucks to put on that
Yeah.
trailer.
We could all have a moment of
I
silence
was
for the
gonna- I was gonna
Broncos
say,
and
if you're
Hammer
gonna bring the big
100.
trailer,
Wait.
we'll put
No,
bicycle, lawnmower, bicycle, Nick's mini bike.
we need to get him a little Tonka Bronco too.
Yes.
Just have it all the way at the back of the trailer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We
Burn it
could,
out first.
You do have a lot of Power Wheels too. We could just strap a Power Wheels to the mower, and I could just ride one of the Power Wheels behind you.
I have a Jeep Power Wheels body that I still have to put a frame and some kind of weed ear motor or something under it.
I built one specifically for downhill. It's a Silverado. I took the axles out and I put rebar axles under it
Nice.
because I'm heavy. I bent the axles.
Yeah, speaking if we do the downhill power wheels race, I just got asked about today.
Take the motors out.
Got them. The hill works, but you gotta have them. Just an axle in there.
Yeah, because it won't roll freely without.
Because
the-
everyone would go.
We don't
like
have
2
a
feet to
super
stop.
steep hill, but if you take the axle off, they roll pretty decent down that hill.
You just gotta slide the axle out, undo the motor, slide the axle back through.
I missed it. at the spring round.
No one there knew about it. They were taking a piece of the wood trying to break it apart.
Eric's up there with a log trying to break his motors out.
Well, Eric picked his up on the side of the road on his way to the
I
gambler.
don't know how many people didn't get the message, but there were so many poor wheels that didn't show up to the downhill race in the dumpster. Like, if I had more room, I had Beer the Cable just completely full of cans. If I had more room, I'd have thrown more of those Power Wheels in there for next time. But I had
Yeah, just have them all set up like, hey, come pick them up and run them down the hill.
Yeah.
Don't
Pick
kill
one and run
yourself.
I had the couple
just
that
fill
I
my
needed.
trailer full of Power Wheels.
Go up there with 65 of them on the trailer. Pick your poison. I got Gravedigger. I got Barbie
there you go,
Jeep. I
yeah.
got everything.
Barbie Jeep.
I got not Barbie Jeep. It's Dora the Explorer Jeep.
They've got a new one. I want to buy it just for downhill. It's like the Barbie Dream Camper.
Yes.
It looks like a little camper like I have out in the driveway, but it's all pink and there's a little like fake stove and stuff inside it. I just want to take one downhill because it's
You
huge.
need to paint it to match or paint your camper to match it. Big and little.
Yeah.
You need to build a middle-sized one.
Oh, that'd be so funny.
I feel like the Gambler 100 is going to be the gambler with the most personal injuries.
Oh shoot!
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Well,
Bring
like,
your
Props to
first
you,
aid
Captain,
kit and
for
have
dealing with 200 drunk guys on lawnmowers and mini bikes.
well, at
On
least
the
the
plus side,
lawnmowers aren't going to have decks
Hopefully
and
no,
blades spinning.
hopefully no blades on the mowers.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
mow the trail. I got a brand new mower deck that I just took off that mower and tossed in the scrap pile.
Yeah, I saw it sitting back
Oh,
there.
really?
Well, it came with the house, and we had just bought a brand new John Deere mower, and I was like, dibs.
So most of mine don't have working decks.
I say 42-inch Craftsman deck, everything
Well,
on it.
I'll tell you
I
this.
mean, if you
The one I
turbocharge...
mow the lawn with, I bought with that lot that the turbo shopping cart one's going to be built out of. It's a white with 20 horsepower, 50-inch deck. Well, that thing was a piece. The hood wasn't on it.
Those old white mowers, you can't kill, though.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, here's my starting procedure for this thing. And this is up from the 30-minute starting procedure. This is down to a 10-minute starting procedure, but it's still a lot of steps. Start by pumping up the tire. Well, no. First thing I do is throw the battery charger on it in start mode. Then you gotta pump up all 3 out of 4 tires. Then while you got the air hose there, you have to pressurize the gas tank to prime it. So it does not keep prime. Then when the battery hopefully has enough juice, you spray starting fluid in it, and then you take a screwdriver and jump the solenoid. And hope it starts. That's how you start my lawnmower. And then you don't let it die till it's parked back into the garage, so you put the battery charger back on it.
You put a 50-inch mower or a deck with some blades on it underneath the turbocharged mower, though, you might have yourself a hovercraft.
That would be awesome.
I might have to try it. Ugh.
Show up with a $60 built hovercraft. Yeah,
Yeah,
screw
woo!
your technology.
Well, man, what have I ended on this build so far? Free shopping cart, free turbo. I spent $20 on the oil feed lines. The mower was $250 divided by 3, so under $100. And I think I got $20 into the one V-tread tire. All the other tires I got for free. So, still a pretty cheap build.
Definitely under the $100 range.
Speaking
I went over that in
of
tires.
Yo, can you look up and see how much a tire? Can you guys get a tire that small?
Yes. We can get ones for hand carts. You'll be fine.
Yeah,
Actually,
look and
I'll
see.
look at the rim size because I took off some tiny little ag tires the other day, so I might have one in my toolbox for you.
Yeah, your tires are probably dry rot from sitting forever, huh?
Oh yeah. I saw massive
I'm
cracks
gonna have
when I was
to-
loading it up.
Try to stretch those tires, and if they don't work, I'm gonna have to figure out a backup solution.
It's like a
Just get a
4-inch
Cheetah.
rim.
It'll what?
Just get a bead Cheetah and, or just tube it.
Yeah, the tube would hold with the tire over it. It might be a little wonky going around corners and whatnot, but... it's
No, once you get the
hold.
tube filled enough, it'll seat the beads.
I mean, it doesn't have to be
Well,
safe.
I don't know. I mean, with how small...
Sketchier the better. We're always forgetting.
I just don't...
ABG.
He's saying he's...
Here's my question. Is Scott requiring helmets, or are they just optional?
We should probably figure that out.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna
That's
wear
why he
my
needs to come on
motocross.
the show.
I'm gonna bring my derby helmet.
Scott-
just
I
in
was gonna
case.
say I have
Post this on the page.
my motocross helmet I could bring.
I'm not going to go fast enough to wear a helmet, and I'm not going to sweat all day.
If I
wearing
have
a
time,
helmet.
I'm gonna have a roll bar on mine
However.
because
Yeah.
I'm expecting
Yeah.
this thing to go fast.
It's going to be August, so it's going to be one of the
And
hottest
maybe
times of year.
make
And
a
you
hard
bring
lap
a...
before I
hard
blow the
hats.
thing.
As
I
messed,
do have a hard hat. I could wear a hard
as
hat.
messed up as it sounds, I might actually wear pants just because of the hot engine notes right there.
Oh, true.
I have a feeling I'll probably blow that motor up doing donuts with that thing the night before.
If you,
Okay, I need a backup plan. I got a bunch more breeze motors. I'm gonna have to bring my breeze motors with so I can swap a motor on it when I blow the turbo.
engine swap for the Gambler 100.
Yep.
Say most lawnmowers are nice. 4 bolts, just toss the motor, put the new one on.
Yep. I'm not sure which one runs the best. I think
Are you planning on spitting fireballs or no fireballs?
we'll see. I think I'm gonna make a setup so I can spin them when I want to.
You should set that thing with anti-lag.
Well, I'm actually going with an almost no electrical system. Like the only thing the electrical system might run is the lights. It might be a pull start setup.
Old
like-
school.
It's a Tecumseh motor.
Oh,
I don't have a working starter for it.
Gets to
other
the
than
gambler, goes to
possibly a
pull
110,
start,
so I'm
breaks
like,
the pull start for...
oh, this isn't gonna be a pull start. This is gonna be a wrap it around and
Oh, so
You have
it's
to
not
rewrap
like,
it.
yeah, rewrap it.
old school rat rod style.
We're putting lights on our lawnmowers and
I
stuff.
think we're
I'm
gonna run right
taking
into that.
flashlights.
Scott
to mine.
said there's not going to be a lot of night trails, but at the same time, I put a 12-inch light bar on my mower just because.
Yeah.
And if anybody needs a light, I've got one of the pod lights off the back of the Toyota. Because I was going to run that, and then I was like, wait. I texted one of my buddies. I was like, you still got them 2 12-inch light bars? Yeah. Can I borrow one?
I got a couple fog lights that I got with a lot of parts that I was supposed to put on Beerly Cave. Well, I'll probably have to put a couple of them on there. Like I said, I gotta figure out if I can get the electrical system, at least the charging system, to work on that thing.
I was half tempted to just make like a little battery box, just
Yeah,
bolt
like,
the 12-volt battery.
like I said,
there.
if that doesn't work, it's gonna be straight up, non-electrical. Throw a battery on for the lights.
Flashlights.
I also gotta make mounts. I gotta put at least 2 gauges. I need an oil pressure gauge and a boost gauge
You
on
don't see
that
too
thing.
much of those.
You don't need oil pressure. Just keep going until it freezes up.
I got the gauges. I got the T. I'm not putting any more money into it. Why not? Then I know if the turbo's gonna freeze up or not.
Yeah, I definitely think that when the Bronco burned down, I think it was ATF because unless the gauges weren't working, because none of the gauges showed any problems. But it smelled like oil. So, I don't know.
2 hours and 18 minutes.
Yes, we've been running
Yeah.
a long time.
Let's
Another successful show.
let's call that a night.
Yeah, it's getting late. My fiance just called
Yeah.
me. She's pissed.
I'm surprised I'm not getting hate mail because I forgot to get a phone card. So,
All right, we good to stop?
sure.
Adios.
Live by
Until
myself,
next
so-
time.